Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week of the SC Evolution League number 4, your bi-weekly dose of SC Evo StarCraft. I'm, of course, VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in the chat, and by my lovely plushies as well. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's been a couple of days. Since our last cast here on the CranKy Ducklings. We were live, of course, on Thursday with the podcast, but alas, we did have Friday off. We were streaming Final Fantasy instead, and now we are here with something a little bit different, something a little bit special. This is not StarCraft 2, this is SC Evo, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Gwangali Beach, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. It is Rebellion. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Brood War Protoss, I should emphasize. It is Gunner. And if you are in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Best of luck in the chat. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. We are here in the round of 16. Exclamation mark B in the chat. If you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, the bracket is stacked, and we will delve into the bracket. We have a debuting player, actually. We have a player debuting for the first time. There's a lot to go into, but for now, we are going to be focusing on this PvP. And coming into this, Rebellion is going to be one of the favorite players here. There is like kind of like a group of Korean players that have been devoting a lot of time to this game. Game mode, SC Evolution. Specifically, I'm referring to players like 3 Point, players like Lunacy, Rebellion, Honmono, Quanta, Genio potentially as well. A lot of these Korean players have been devoting a lot of time. They've been improving a lot. They've been playing a lot, and it has shown in the results in these tournaments. They've been able to take down some bigger names that they otherwise would not in SC2. Now, very quickly, if you're curious, what exactly is SC Evolution? As we're going for a gas, let's go. As we're going for a gas deal, StarCraft Evolution is a bit of a cross mod of SC2 and Brood War. We do have the Brood War races kind of adapted into SC2. They have been kind of remade and reformed. They are not the exact replicates of Brood War. Of the Brood War variants. They are their own variation instead. They have their own adjustments. They've been balanced as well. Their spells as well as their abilities have been adjusted to be more balanced against SC2 races. So the game over time is being patched, it's being balanced, is being hotfixed, and is being worked on. Meanwhile, it is going to be the initial opener, 2-gate opener here out of Gunner. Likewise, Rebellion going for a 2-gate opener as well. I say that Rebellion going for a Robo before expand, so a very delayed expansion. But before I get ahead of myself, welcome as well to Korea in more ways than one. This map is actually a reference to an OGN finals that took place at the beach in Korea. So that's why you have all these, big stands, all these signs. You have the beach, you have the crowd, you have everything set up here like it was back in the day, many years ago, back in, I want to say, Heart of the Swarm, maybe late Wings of Liberty, but it's been many years since that event. Meanwhile, we have our initial units moving out. Again, Gunner did expand behind this. Shield batteries on the way. Double Dragoon forcing back the Stalkers. And Rebellion has still not expanded. Rebellion, yeah, his natural base is very late, and I would say he's most likely going for a 1-base all-in. Meanwhile, Gunner across the map setting up a proxy. Interesting choice. A pylon has been placed. We'll see if he does make use of it to proxy tech or go for a hidden expansion. Bearing in mind, Warp Gate does not exist when it comes to brutal races, so we can't reinforce across the map. This is not a reinforcing pylon. It has to be for something else. Meanwhile, shield battery is done. Dragoons are amassing. Meanwhile, Rebellion, yep, 1-base all-in. Gateway has been thrown down. It's going to be a 1-base all-in here from Rebellion. It's going to be 3 gates initially. Oh, I say, yeah, 3 gates initially alongside Archon production. Okay, Gunner responding with Archons. With a proxy Templar Archives. Interesting. I'm curious as to the purpose of this and what we're going to be headed towards. I'm a little bit concerned here for Gunner, as Gunner is investing in tech, and that means that is less investment into army, into production, into surviving against what's coming up against it. And here we go. Rebellion is all in. Moves out across the map, does catch the Dragoon. The move command! No! Oh, 1 Dragoon goes down, 2nd Dragoon goes down as well, and we're gonna get all 3. Yeah, all 3 Dragoons get caught out. Ay, not like this! Gunner, get out of here! Alas, there is no recall. He's going to lose every single unit. Not ideal. And across the map, Gunner, he is hurting. He barely has anything to work with. Looks like we are rushing into it. Oh, DT production. Now it makes sense. Gunner was rushing into DTs. The problem here, though, is that this all-in at a Rebellion had a robo. Observers on the way. There is going to be detection available with this, so DTs will not be the end-all be-all for Gunner. There was potential, though. I appreciate it. There was potential here with the Dark Shrine, or I say Dark Shrine, with the DTs. As the Dark Shrine is not necessary here for Gunner. DTs have arrived. No detection yet. True. Shield Battery putting in some work, but alas, we have an overwhelming army, and there's just not enough to defend. Rebellion, he's snowballing out of control. He force fields the DTs out of the army. He's locked out. He can't get in. Yeah, DT cannot get in. 10 workers go down. The entire natural is going to be forfeit, and the Observer should be making its way across the map as we speak. Rebellion backing off, but going for the workers, taking his time, waiting for that reinforcing Observer. Meanwhile, DT is welding in across the map and is going to get damage done. There is no cannon, but there is a second Observer. Yeah, there's 2 Observers back at home. DT walls in. There's plenty to defend. DT is going to go down. And Dark Templar falls. And now Rebellion can focus on his assault. And back at home, what is it to defend? We have a couple of DTs, we have a Dragoon. Again, it's just so unfortunate that Gunner, he got caught out in the center of the map. Not like this. And Rebellion, he has control of the natural, and at any moment he can start working his way up into the main base. Dark Archon forced to be morphed in to help somewhat with some spells. I believe can feedback, speaking of, yep, not bad, does feedback. That's all the Archon really can do. But it's curious, the Dark Archon does not actually have any attacks, only spells. And Rebellion, he does make his way into the main. We have a handful of Dragoons trying to hold on. 4 Dragoons, but we're zoned away from the Shield Battery. Yeah, Shield Battery's not coming into play. GG gets called, and Rebellion will take game number 1. GG. Let's go. Rebellion does take the first game, but a shout out to Gunner because honestly, as you heard, it kind of blew over my head. It just didn't cross my mind that, okay, if we have a proxy out of the map, usually it would be for some proxy tech, and in Brood War Protoss, there is no Dark Shrine. You can, morph in DTs with the Templar Archives only. That's the only thing required for that, so yeah, that's something that that didn't quite cross my mind there, and yeah, it looks like we were trying to be cheeky rushing into DTs, and there's potential with that in PvP. But as we saw, unfortunately, Rebellion did open Robo. He opened Robo, he opened with a 1-base all-in initially, and with that Robo had access to detection, so he was more than ready. GG, well played. Rebellion takes the first game. Does take the first game. And now we're getting into game 2. Let's go. And we'll see if we can have a back and forth and head into the ace match. The pressure is going to be on Gunner as we're loading into Polypoid. Let's go. We're going to be loading into a 4-player spawn map. That's another big thing that I love about this mod as well. Like, there's just so much going on and so much more to factor in. It isn't just the fact that, it's a little bit more, it was just like a game or kind of a mod of fresh air, right? Seeing SC2 up against like different races and seeing this different kind of interaction. But on top of that, the guardrails are off. The guardrails are off when it comes to map making, and because of that, we have 4-player spawn maps again, we have 3-player spawn maps again, we have just these wild features, we have island-based maps, which is still my favorite, with Paradox as well, and some other just quirky features in these maps that aren't really vetted for SC2, at least not anymore. They have been phased out over time. And here we go, we have a cross-spawn game as spawning in the top right-hand corner of Polypoid. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself, representing clan NWCE. It is Rebellion. The SC2 Protoss, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, the Brood War Protoss, I should emphasize. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Gunner. And this used to be a thing. This is very risky. It's going to be a proxy. It's going to be a 1-base all-in at a Gunner. Now, again, 4-player spawn maps used to be a thing many years ago in SC2, and whenever you would load into them, you could gamble hard. You can just go for a massive gamble. We have a proxy, but Gunner still doesn't know where his opponent is. So he's scouting. He's scouting, he's checking. Gunner is looking for his opponent. Likewise, so is Rebellion. Rebellion confirms there is no one here towards bottom right. Likewise, Gunner confirms no one as well. They do spot each other, and that is a bit of a tell that their initial bases should be nearby. Gunner moved out with a second probe, and now is aware. Meanwhile, Rebellion, he barely does miss. Again, he has been skirting around the edge. He didn't go across the map, and he has to miss a proxy. But he will scout the base, and what's important here, thankfully Rebellion, he scouts the base second, and he will confirm where's the production, where's the pylon, where's the production, where are the gateways. No, he doesn't go in. No, he doesn't think it's there. He scouts the ramp and he sees no pylon, so he thinks that he's not there. Oh no, he doesn't know. He's going to be checking the main base, and the probe gets scouted, and now Rebellion is going to be second-guessing himself. Now he will determine where the base is, and he should be able to piece it together. He's like, hold on, something's wrong. Something is not right here. He confirms there is no expansion. Now he knows, okay, it has to be bottom left, and that means there has to be a proxy. And how does he respond? Zealot did pop out. Shield batteries on the way. Gunner is pushing in. Does have the Zealot advantage. Again, is massing more Zealots behind this. It's just pure Zealot. Pure Zealots here out of Gunner. Boys are being pulled. First Zealot's going to be going down. Ooh, massive pickup. Nice surround though. A good surround on the Zealots. Zealots are going to be shut down. They trade decently well. The Stalker has arrived. The Stalker can kite the hell out of these Zealots, but it's just the one Stalker for now. Probes are getting another decent surround. Zealots trying to make their way into the main. Likewise, additional Zealot reinforcements. They shut down the shield battery. Meanwhile, Rebellion has control of his main base. The next target here for Gunner should be the pylons and depowering the production. Behind this, Cybercore is done. Dragoons are being rallied across the map. Ooh, Gunner is supply blocked. That's a rough supply block here for the Protoss, for the red Protoss player. I mean, he's being helped out a little bit here, bleeding out some Zealots. Does free up some supply. Meanwhile, the pylon is under fire. And it looks like the pylon is going to go down. Oh, never mind. Gunner does retarget. Oh, does he get it? He does. Barely, pylon goes down. That was a shield battery, not another pylon. Gateway is depowered. And here come those Dragoons. And can Gunner keep this going again? He lost a little momentum because of the supply blocks. The reinforcements have been delayed. But there's no shield battery. There's no reinforcements. There's only 2 Adepts and 1 Stalker. 2 Dragoons. Can we pull this off? Again, it is going to be close. It's going to come down to the control. Going to come down to the micro. Shield battery on the high ground is now repowered, but it is out of range of the overcharge. The Dragoons are slowly pushing their way forward into the main. Oh, 1 Adept falls. Shield battery's out of energy. Oh, he pulls away. Ooh. Dragoon goes down, but he will take down the Stalker. Another Stalker about to pop in. Warp Gate is almost done as well. The Dragoons, they do target down the pylon. That's a lot of wasted shots. Yeah, shots are spent. Rebellion pulling the boys back up. Pylons are on the way. Another shield battery as well. And it looks like Rebellion, he might be able to barely hold on here. I say that. There's still more Dragoons coming in. They do target down the shield battery. Another Dragoon falls. Yeah, the surround is brutal. The probes are actually doing a lot of damage here. Lock down the army. That's 6 probes falling. Another shield battery is done. More Dragoons on the way. And again, Rebellion with the power of the high ground and 2 shield batteries, he's holding on. He has no mining on the low ground, and Gunner can kill this expansion, but he has no backup behind this. He has no natural base. Another Dragoon goes down. Rebellion falling back. Robo's done. Immortals on the way. The Immortals should shut this down. There was potential with this, but we had some supply blocks. We had some otherwise miscontrol at times as well. And it looks like as the game progresses, it's getting better and better for Rebellion. Yeah, here comes the Immortal. Massive damage. I'm loving the retargeting here of the army as well. And Rebellion will clean this up. Pushing up a ramp into full Dragoons, but I mean, now we're down to 3. 3 Dragoons left. The Immortal still fully topped up. And the Natural still up and running. Or it's still up. Still alive. Gunner still trying to reinforce. He's down to 4 Dragoons. I need to say Stalkers. God damn it. 4 Dragoons left. Additional gateways on the way. It was a shaky hold here on Rebellion. But again, it's getting better and better for him. Meanwhile, Gunner back at home, he's going to be researching Dragoon range. It's a bold upgrade here in this kind of game state. Likewise, looks like Gunner, he wants to expand as well. But a very late expansion for Gunner. It looks like he's going to try to macro out of this. Assuming he expands. Oh, never mind. Did make an extra wave of Dragoons instead. Is moving out. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned by is that there's no shield battery on the low grounds. I feel like Rebellion is cutting some corners here. Is cutting corners. That's a lot of Dragoons. Range almost done. Gunner, can he break this again? There's no overcharge. There is no shield battery. Gunner pushing it, but he's pushing into a concave, into Immortals. The force fields are brutal. We lock down the army. Gunner, he gets split in half. And Rebellion, he's fine. Even without the shield battery, he's still fine. The power of the force fields. Zealots trickle in. We're down to 3 Dragoons left. Just the 3. Rebellion once again can force this all the way back. More reinforcements rallying in. Gunner expanding behind this, is attempting to transition. Is attempting. But last Rebellion should be secure. And he will soon be able to move out. Rebellion, he has... Oh, no, never mind. He has scouted the proxy. He is aware. And given a little bit more time, he will soon be able to break out and lay siege upon this proxy location. He's now up to 3 Immortals. War Prism. Still is risky moving out, but with 3 Immortals, he should be feeling confident. Sentry's going to be pulled away. Shields triggered on the 1 Immortal for now. On the second. But again, there's still 3 Immortals. Gunner is being forced back. Rebellion, he's now made his way towards the production, and he can just depower every single gateway. And the gateways are depowered. And now he can commit to the fight. Force wheels, they catch out 2 of those Dragoons. And is there any production back at home? There is. Oh, there's 1 gate. There's 1 gateway back at home. Just the 1. Not like this. Nice target firing here at Rebellion. Does target down as many Dragoons as possible. There's 4 left. Waddling away. Oof. And back at home, Rebellion is on 2-base saturation. Fully saturated. Blink is on the horizon as well. To have more mobility. 3rd expansion. Aye. 3rd Nexus on the way. Rebellion doesn't even need it, but I mean, why not? He's ahead, might as well just get further ahead. Getting another expansion. We do have Gunner going for a scout across the map. Fun fact, I have actually not seen a scout in this mod yet. Like, we've been casting this for a couple of months at this point, and I don't think I've ever seen a Protoss player make a scout. So, let's go. I mean, we're not there yet. It's almost spawned in. Give us a little bit more time, Adepts. Take it into the main. And probes being one-shot with 2 Adepts. Scout has arrived. More known for its anti-air more than anything. So, don't think it can help too much, but, you know, we have it. It's not a bad model. I would imagine, are there scouts in co-op? Or, actually... Or is this custom made? I wonder. Are there scouts in co-op? Question mark? Or is this like part Phoenix, part something else? Like, Scout goes down. And GG gets caught. With the death of the Scout, and Rebellion will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. I remember before co-op was a thing back in Heart of the Swarm. Shout out to anyone that remembers Starbow. Starbow was similar to this, but very different. Starbow was kind of like a hybrid, version of SC2 and Brood War, where instead of 6 races, it was 3 races, and it would just take elements from SC2 and Brood War and meld them all together. And I remember for Starbow, they had to do that because this is before co-op. This is back in Heart of the Swarm, where the creators of the mod had to create their own units by like Frankensteining existing units. I remember the Dragoon that was made for Starbow was actually partly made by the legs of the Immortal. Like, it used the Immortal legs instead as to create that model of the Dragoon. I remember that, for example. And there were some other examples as well of how they made like Valkyries and stuff like that, by like, you know, taking some existing SC2 models apart and like just gluing them together. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations here to Rebellion for taking the series at 2-0. My condolences to Gunner, but there was a lot of potential with this initial build. If you remember, it took Rebellion a very long time to realize it wasn't all in, and Gunner was gaining ground. You could argue that maybe we had some mistargeting, or the prioritization of going for the shield batteries at times was maybe a little bit misplaced, and we did miss some volleys on units, did miss volleys on stalkers, and alas, the supply block was also a brutal moment as well. But regardless, GG, well played. Gunner may have gone down, but did put on a good show. And a shout out to Gunner. I do see Gunner in the chat. Well played. Well played, Pappy. Well played. GG. GG, well played. With that, Rebellion does advance on into the next round, and we have some catching up to do. We have some catching up to do. As we switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. I believe I should also be switching servers as well. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Quanta versus his opponent, Ukabul, I believe they're facing off on the Korean server. So I will try to catch them. I'll do my best. Otherwise, from the top, we have Velvet Lena up against Kosit in the first round in a PvP. Winner goes up against 3-Point in the second round. 3-Point, he is a Korean Zerg player, and 3-Point, he is the rating champion. He is the rating champion. 3-Point, he's been looking very dominant as of late. Has been looking very strong, very powerful. And, yeah, we'll see if anyone can bring him down, and if anyone can kind of pose a threat to 3-Point. We have seen players like Quanta, like Hormono, like Rebellion as well. We have seen them take maps and even take series off of 3-Point at times, but 3-Point is going to be the heavy favorite in this tournament. We'll see, again, who can slip him up, who can bring him down. So going down there, we do have the next round. We have Nihed up against Rumi as well in a ZVT. Scoring down, we have Rebellion. He took down Gunner 2-0, waiting for the winner of Quanta and Ukabul. Scoring down a little bit further, we have Honmono waiting for the winner of DeWalt and Goog. They're currently mid-series in a PVT, so Honmono, he has a bit of downtime here, waiting for his opponents. Likewise, Hydra versus Ateshi. Shout out to Hydra. Hydra, of course, a Protoss player from the Netherlands. He was in the chat earlier. He was letting us know that he's also playing in the Home Story Cup qualifier that's happening at the same time, so there might be a walkover. There might be a walkover. If Hydra is busy with his Home Story Cup matches, then he won't be able to compete in this event at the same time. So bear that in mind. There might be a walkover there. We'll wait and see. Scrolling down, we have MSRM takes down Snogstar 2-0. Very impressive. I rate Snogstar quite highly here when it comes to this mod. He has been embracing it a little bit more than others. He's a Polish Zerg player, but Snogstar goes down to MSRM, and we have the player of the night that I'm the most curious about. I mentioned before, there is a player debuting in this tournament in SC Evo. That is Classic. Classic, he is here for the first time, I believe, in StarCraft Evolution. Classic, of course, the Korean Protoss player. He is a Korean Protoss, and I mean, he's one of the best Protoss players in South Korea in SC2, but how does Classic compare to all these other players in SC Evo? That's the big question. We have seen these big names show up before, players like Skillus, players like Shin, and they've struggled. They have struggled here. They haven't been the most practiced. I mean, I say that. Shin has been an SC Evo champion. But yeah, Shin, he has been a champion in the past, and he was able to get a handle of it eventually, and I'm curious to see the progression and how far Classic can go. We shall see. As it looks like we have our next series. We have our next matchup. Oh, and we're tied up 1-1. That I was not expecting. Okay, un momento. Here we go. We have our next matchup, we have our next series. And it is going to be a TVT between Quanta and Ukubo. Here we go. Now, we're jumping in mid-series. We're in the ace match. We're in the ace match. Fun fact, I was asking Quanta, I was asking him, is Ukubo from Korea? Like, I don't know anything about him. And he's like, yes, he's from Korea. I also don't know anything about him either. He's like, I don't know who he is, but he's pretty good. He's here in the ace match. Again, I do rate Quanta quite highly here when it comes to the other players in this tournament. So we'll see how this story ends. We'll see if the newcomer can take down the veteran. As spawning in the top side of Silphid, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran. Representing his new team, representing Streamer Zone, it is a Quanta. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the newcomer. We have the orange Terran player from South Korea. Representing Brood War Terran, it is Ukubo. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Again, the winner of this series will face off against Rebellion in the next round. So that's why we have hopped over, just because Rebellion, we just casted and just finished up Rebellion series. He is waiting. He does have some downtime. We're here to find out who will face off against him. And this could go either way. Now, we don't really know what happened in the previous games, outside of this being the ace match, so I'm curious how our players play this out. I should close this. There we go. As we are settling in. And we have interesting Ukubo CC first. Bold move. Now, the reason why you can get away with CC first, it is a very greedy maneuver here by Ukubo, but welcome to a 3-player map. You can spawn in towards the top, left, or right-hand side. So that means it can take a little bit longer for your opponent to scout you, and can take a little bit longer for your opponent to punish you as well. So this is a bit of a gamble, but we'll see if it pays off. So far, it looks like it will. Racks into 2 racks follow-up here by Ukubo. Meanwhile, Quanta back at home going for a racks expand. Standard economic opener here by Quanta. Standard economic opener out of Quanta. Meanwhile, a bit of a greedier opener here by Ukubo, going CC first into triple racks. We can see Quanta going for an SCV scout, and unfortunately for Quanta, it's going to take him a little bit longer to realize what's going on. He will scout and he will confirm that Ukubo is, of course, spawning in towards the bottom left. He knows that at least. He knows where his opponent is, but he doesn't know how greedy Ukubo has been. Here we go. As the SCV does turn back around, so likewise, Ukubo going to be scouting. His SCV is going to be running into the Reaper. Likewise, Ukubo wasn't aware of where his opponent had spawned in. And the SCV should fall. SCV gets cleaned up. Back at home, bunker is almost done. Marines are on the way, and with the help of this bunker, with the help of these Marines, we should be able to defend here at the natural. Another big feature of this map, and this is a feature that is in most maps for SC Evo, for those that are curious. Do you notice something? No Reaper Cliff. No Reaper Cliff into the natural base, unlike in SC2 where Reaper Cliffs are very common. They're a very common feature in SC2. In SC Evo, they're more of a rarity. And they're more often just seen in the SC2 specific maps. So because of that, this Reaper is less valuable, the bunker is done, and there's no way to scout the main, not with a Reaper at least. And I do think that this is quite intentional as well, especially because early on, especially if one player goes Mass Reaper, the Brood War Terran player doesn't really have as much of a mobile army, especially early on, so it allows them to defend and focus on one area to defend early on, to stabilize, to get into a longer game. It stops Reapers from getting out of hand, and from things like proxy Reapers snowballing out of control. Behind this, we do have a 1-1-1 follow-up here out of Quanta, going to Hellions to help support, to gain map control. Meanwhile, Ukabul confirming prioritizing bioproduction. It's going to be Mass Marine Medic here for our Orange Terran. Scans across the map, gets eyes on at least the starport, is aware of the 1-1-1. Oh, not just a 1-1-1. Quanta is going for a proxy fusion. He's crazy. He's going BC. he's rushing BC. Quanta with the proxy fusion core. He's wild. He's crazy. Lost his mind. And I mean, we'll see if he can get away with it. Now, BCs take a while to produce. They do take a while. This is why I love Quanta as well. I should emphasize that. Quanta, he can be a very creative player. He is similar to Honmono in the fact that he's a bit of an animal, but a very different kind of animal. I feel like Quanta is a little bit more creative. Honmono is just aggressive. Este Honmono. But for now, the Hellions are going to be buying some time against purely Marine Medic. So you can see, oh my god, the medics line up. When every single medic goes down, 3 medics get sniped, and without any medics, we can't move out. Yeah, Ukabul, he's going to be stuck at home, lost all his medics, and that is going to give Quanta the time he needs to build up those BCs as we have Yamato being researched across the map. First BC is on the way. Now, it's only going to be single port BC. It's not 2-port BC, so it's not as wild as it could be. It would be crazy, though. Meanwhile, Ukabul, he's getting into Biotank. Tank production underway. I believe he's got Stim. Yep, Stim has been researched. But again, losing all those medics delays the push. Delays the push. It buys time. Scan across the map reveals not... Oh, the fake cloak! Scan reveals that cloak is being researched for Banshees. But again, Quanta, he only started... Yep, he started and he cancelled. It was only for show. The big brain, papi. Ah, it's beautiful. Ay, ay, ay. As Siege Mode is being researched, bearing in mind as well, because this is Brood War Terran, this is back in the day when tanks, they had to learn how to siege. It's a bit of a learning process for them. Let's go. Scan reveals additional factories, the bioproducing. First PCs on the way. Now, there are a lot of Marines, that is true, but Marines are going to be a little bit less mobile than they otherwise would be in SC2 just because there are no medics. Right, sorry, medevacs, I meant to say. There are no medevacs. You have to rely on medics. Means you can't kind of like pick up, unload, and boost across and keep up with the BC. Regardless, first BC has arrived. Turret is going to finish up just barely. Only 2 SCV kills. With the BC on the edge. Does trade with the Marines. Yeah, a couple of Marines going down. Yamato goes off, takes out a tank. BC does back off in time. Very nice pickoff. And you can see Quanta lying in wait, waiting for the counterattack. And the Marines, will they line up? Quanta, he does miss the move out. Does miss the main army. You can see Ukabul trying to hunt down that BC. Hellions are spotted. And Quanta has to back off behind this. Quanta is embracing Mega. Oh, they're lining up! No! Oh my god, the barbecue! The Hellions, they're crazy. They pop up. They annihilate the Marines. The Marine count almost completely just eviscerated here. Barely any Marines left. Hellions, they're snowballing out of control. You rarely see this. Hellions popping off against Marines. Behind this, more Hellions on the way. Blue Flame as well. Double armory. Mech upgrades. And of course, full-on mech. Full-on mech with BC support. And BC's coming in for the Yamato. We're looking for that Yamato. He wants that tank. And he's going to get it. Yeah, Yamato goes off. Gets a free tank. Tank goes down. Not just one. Here comes another Yamato. Another Yamato is available. He holds onto it though. Doesn't spend it yet. He's respecting those Marines quite a bit. Scans ahead of time. BCs, they want it, papi. Getting another tank. Tank goes down for free. Third BC on the way. The second starport as well. He wants the mass BC, papi. Second starport's on the way. At the same time, the Bio Army, it's holding its own for now. But I do worry about the Blue Flame Hellions. Army steps in! But not enough here to bring down the BC. The Hellions, they just go to town on the Marines. I say that, the tanks, oh my god, they pop off. But there's not enough Marines. The Hellions, they did their job. Not enough anti-air. The BCs on the run. Even without Yamato, they snowball out of control. They shut down every Marine, the tanks, the medics. They shut everything down. Aye, aye, aye. And nothing else shoots up. The BC snowballs out of control. This was quite a build. Making use of how large the map was. And with that, it looks like Quanta has done it. He has broken the back of Ukabul. And what a wild way to end the series as well. Yamato's go up, they take down the turret. Camber the production. Goliaths are on the way. But again, they might just be too little too late for Ukabul. As clearly Mass Marine was not the answer. Now we get the Goliaths, but the BCs, they can just teleport away. Yamato goes off. And you can see Quanta just rallying across the map, busting into the mineral lines. And Quanta, yeah, just having a unique approach here to this TVT. GG gets called. Quanta, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round with a wild BC rush. GG. GG, well played. And I would not be surprised if Ukabul had never been in that position before. Winding it back a little bit here, it does seem like you have no pushing power as the bio tank player, specifically in that kind of dynamic. Like winding it back and thinking about like how the armies were kind of interacting with each other, clearly there was kind of this moment where Ukabul was able to build up, where he had his siege line. The siege line was able to punish those Hellions, but it looked like the Marines were a little bit too far forward. They were a little bit too cavalier. We saw that if we got a couple of Hellion volleys off, and if the Marine count got too low, then the BCs could snowball out of control. So I do feel like you can still probably approach this with a Marine tank composition, but you would have to be very defensive, and you'd have to be very careful with how you position your Marines, maybe even bunkers, and play a more turtley style. Otherwise, I would imagine that going into your own mech as a response would be a little bit more viable here. In saying that, though, it was difficult to scout because if you remember, because the map is so large, I mean, it would happen on any large map, even a two-player spawn map, to be fair, but alas, of course, the tech was hidden, the fusion core was not scouted. Quanta did a beautiful job at hiding the build and hiding the BCs until far later, and yeah, it was just a fun game. GG. GG, well played. Quanta does take it, and now we are getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for our PVT between Rebellion and Quanta. Let's go. We are jumping into the quarterfinals. And I'm excited to see how these two face off. I do think that compared to the previous matches, I mean, shout out to Ukabul. I want to get back a little bit. Big shout out to Ukabul because I've never casted him before, and hey, going to the ace match against Quanta is not an easy thing to do. Likewise, I don't think that ace match really showcased the skill of Ukabul because he was up against a weird build that I'm sure he didn't really have a lot of practice against, so he had to kind of try to react on the fly and try to kind of deal with the hand he was dealt, and hasn't necessarily been in that situation before and doesn't have the experience to kind of react and to have a response. So yeah, with that, GG, and I hope to see more of Ukabul in the future. Regardless, Rebellion and Quanta are now facing off, and again, I do believe they are very close in skill. This could go either way. I would not be surprised if this also goes to the ace match. If I had to pick a favorite, I would lean towards Rebellion, but I think that's only because I've been casting more Rebellion recently. I have been casting more Rebellion. He has been more active as a player, so I'm leaning in his direction, but I can definitely see Quanta popping off and bringing Rebellion down, especially with some wild builds as well, with some more unique, kind of specialized builds here for this matchup. Oh, I'm excited, man. Let's go. We go. Just catching up in the chat. Oh, do apologize for not giving you a shout out earlier, but a shout out to Roden18 in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hope you have been enjoying the content for 12 months, a full year of support. Thank you, Roden. Thank you. I do appreciate it dearly here, and hope you enjoy the SE2. Hope you enjoy the SE Evo as well. Again, something a little bit different. Not necessarily the stock standard StarCraft 2 that we're used to, but, you know, a fun kind of variant of it, regardless. At least I find it fun. Here we go. Here we go. As vetoes are underway, and then we can jump into our first game. Meanwhile, do we have any other updates on the brackets? That is the question. Looks like we do. It looks like Hydra was able to compete. It looks like he was able to play. If you recall earlier, we were a little bit concerned that Hydra would have to walk over, or he would have to issue a walkover, because Hydra was otherwise busy with Home Story Cup, with the qualifier of Home Story Cup. So it's great to see that Hydra was able to find some kind of compromise and maybe play in both, or, you know, pick and choose, and did opt to play out this series. So congratulations to Hydra. He does advance on into the quarterfinals. Likewise, MSRM is still waiting for his opponent. Classic versus Ree. They're still mid-series in a PvT. They're still facing off. Likewise, DeWalt takes down Goog 2-1. DeWalt now up against Honmono in the round of 16. I do favor Honmono there, but that is only because I'm very unfamiliar with DeWalt. So I'm ready to be introduced. I'm ready to be surprised. I do wish him the best of luck against Honmono in that next series. We still have Rumaith against Nihid or Nihid, still mid-series. And we have another update. We have Velvet Lena takes down Cosset 2-1, now up against 3 Point in the round of 16. So the round of 16 is well underway. It's halfway done at this point, and we are progressing into the quarterfinals. For now, we're going to be focusing, of course, on Rebellion versus Quanta. I will most likely be sticking to the upper half of the bracket and trying to catch some 3-point matches as well. In saying that, it is very tempting to catch some Classic, right? Like Classic, it's his first, at least from what I've seen, it is his first endeavor in SC Evo. I'm really curious to see how he plays and how he does with Brood War Protoss. I'm excited to see him later on, and I hope we're able to catch him. I hope we're able to cover some Classic at least. A little bit. We'll see if we can. I'm hoping things line up. For now, again, we're focusing on the upper half of the bracket. Otherwise, vetoes are still underway. No new maps this time. We are still sticking with our current map pool for those that are curious. We do have a couple of SC2 maps like Alkyone, Guangali Beach, and Oceanborn. So we have 3 SC2 maps that have been adapted, of course. Guangali Beach being an old SC2 map from many years ago. And we also have some SE Evo maps, which are brutal maps that have been ported over. So a shout out to Hyper1 for adminning and organizing the event, and also for being responsible for porting over a lot of these older maps that have been a lot of fun to really embrace. I'm still waiting for the moments. I don't know if Hyper1 is listening. I'm waiting for the moments where he, instead of porting a map, makes his own SE Evo map. I don't know if he's done that already. If so, I'm curious. I'm curious what Hyper1 has done with it. I'm a little bit afraid, a little bit scared. But we have Monty Hall, Paradox, Polypoid, and Sylphid as the ported Brood War maps. But here we go. We're jumping into game 1. No! I see in the chat. I'm gonna have to disappoint you, but I think 3 Point is getting walked over. No shot. No 3 points? Mate, if there's no 3 points, we might have a new champion. I'll have to check the history of this tournament, but I believe it's been like either 3 Point or Shin. If I recall correctly, I think they've been the only champion, so it'll be wild if 3 Point is not a part of this tournament. But for now, we're focusing on our current series, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkyone, we have our Brood War Terran player, the South Korean Terran, representing his new team Streamer Zone. It is Quanta. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, the SC2 Protoss. It is Rebellion. And you know what time it is. If you're in the chat, it is time to get your gambler going, because predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. As I mentioned before, I would not be surprised if this goes to the ace match. I do lean slightly in favor of Rebellion, but this could go either way. Could go either way. Clearly, we saw that Quanta, he's got some special builds up his sleeve. We saw that earlier in the TBT, and we'll see if he has something similar here in the TVP. As for now, he is going CC first. So CC first here into 2 Raxes. I imagine 2 Raxes behind this. A bit of a greedier build by Quanta. And Rebellion doing the best he can to try to punish this. Will tase away at the building SCVs. Does force one of them away. Does force one back. The other taking a lot of hits. A third SCV has to come down. Oh my god. Oh, he wants it. Oh, one of us. One more. The jukes are real. The SCV does get away. And Rebellion, I mean, it's been so annoying. Does he force another? He forces the 4th SCV. Oh my god. This probe is a menace. 4 SCVs. Nothing's gone down, but I mean, this is still getting damage done. And we get the scout into the main. We scout to the 2nd and 3rd racks. So Rebellion is fully aware of the 3 racks opener. This should be 3 racks into a stim timing. And Rebellion back at home, just opening up gate expand. Standard opener out of Rebellion. With this, I imagine he should be working towards a Twilight Counter into Blink Stalkers. And again, because he knows that it's going to be bio-aggression out of Quanta, then Rebellion, it's going to be on him to be active in the center of the map to try and slow down the push. Actually going for a harder response here, going for a Robo opener instead. Now, what I'm referring to, at least when it comes to SC2, if you get a read and if you get a feel that your opponent is opening up 3 racks, then a way to completely shut it down is going for a Robo opener. It's a very safe way to open up in this matchup. The reason for this, fast Robo means fast Immortal, also means fast Bay into fast Colossus production. So you can just rush into Colossus, and by the time Stim finishes, by the time the first army moves out across the map, the first Colossus would be out. At least that's the case when it comes to the SC2 kind of variant of a 3 racks. I do think this is going to hit sooner though. As you can imagine, when it comes to this kind of setup, you don't have to wait for add-ons. So we're producing Marines already, medics as well. You don't have to wait for a starport for any kind of supportive unit. This does hit earlier, this does hit sooner, but with less units. So we'll see if Rebellion can survive this. And we'll see if he does rush into Colossus. Stim is on the way. Yep, there's the Bay. So he is going for the Colossus response. And I'm curious if this lines up, and I'm curious if the first Colossus arrives just in time. It's going to be quite a tight or crisp timing here for our players. Stim is done. Stim is already done. The army's getting ready to move out. We have 2 medics. Yeah, the Bay is only halfway done, so this does hit sooner than a regular SC2 3 racks. Does hit much sooner. That Eps, they do catch 1 medic. Not bad. Oh! They don't quite get a second. Rebellion forced away. Quanta holding onto his stim. And back at home, we have force fields, we have sentries, we have a shield battery, we have an overcharge. Rebellion, he has enough to buy time. And here comes the first Colossus. It's on the way. Gateway under fire. There's the first stim. Going for the sentries. Doesn't quite get them. Sentry does survive. Oh my god. Barely doesn't get the second sentry. Guardian shield is, of course, used. And Rebellion holds. Rebellion does hold. The Colossus is about to pop. And Quanta did not do enough. Again, Rebellion, he was fortunate enough to scout this at the very start of the game. And Rebellion is perfectly fine. Perfectly safe and sound. The Colossus is here. And now Rebellion can expand. Now, what I will say about this move out from Quanta, even though he didn't break his opponents and he wanted to do more damage, what's important is that Quanta didn't lose much. He lost 2 Marines and a medic. So he still maintains his army, and he can still pose a threat to Rebellion. He scans, he sees the Colossus rotating around. He has to be very careful with how he does engage. Oh! Delays the third. Gets a probe. Gets a probe, gets a pylon. Cannot engage the main army. But a nice little pickoff. Not bad. As long as the medics get out of there. Oh, speaking of the force field, oh god! The force field gets thrown down! Marines and medics, they get caught out as well. Brutal losses here for Quanta. And Rebellion does break out. Quanta's got to get the hell out of here. Does race back home. Rebellion on the chase. Behind this, tank production has been delayed because of the 3 racks. Siege mode is being researched. The first bunker is done. A couple of boys have been pre-pulled. The scan does not catch the observer. The force fields are brutal. Oh my god, once again! The Colossus goes sent down on the army. Marines go down, SCVs as well. The force fields are brutal. Tank unable to siege. Siege mode finishing up in 5 seconds. Looks like it will finish up in time. Quanta does hold. He holds the natural, but what about the main? What about the main base's Rebellion? He does rotate over. The main base is looking very exposed. The army just being juggled over into the main. Or elevated into the main, I should say. Control tower goes down. Adepts a shade into the natural. Another wave of reinforcements in the main base as well. Can he get on top of the tanks? He gets one. One tank goes down. Rebellion making his way into the mineral line. Adepts, they have been cleaned up, but they get 7 SCVs. And counting. Gonna be 8 SCV kills. Tanks trying to reposition. And Rebellion, I don't know if he can really break this, but there's still only one tank. Oh my god! The Marines, they get locked down. Once again, the Colossus trades so well. It's still just the one. Behind this, Rebellion is on a 3rd base. He's on a 3-base economy. Getting further ahead, taking into Temple Archives, taking towards Storm. More SCVs are falling. Archon's morphing in to help reinforce. Still no Storm. But obviously Rebellion, he doesn't need it. There we go. We now have a 3-tank setup. Did I say 3? Now down to 2. Rebellion pushing into tank fire. Will lose all of his Archons. This was not the fight to take. Oh my god, the punish! The punish is real. Quanta breaks out. Rebellion did overextend and he will lose everything. The entire army goes down. The Prism does survive. Oh, never mind. Prism goes down as well. And again, Rebellion pushed into 3 tanks. That was not the play. And suddenly, Quanta, he's back in this. Like, that was a hefty loss here for Rebellion. He lost the Colossus, lost the Archons. He has no Colossus behind this. He's just now restarting. 1 Colossus on the way. And the question becomes, has Rebellion been too greedy? 4th expansion in production, and here comes the push. On 2 bases, scans ahead of time, looking for the base, looking for the 3rd. Charge is done, but it's mainly a Zealots-based army, only 1 Archon. Ghost has arrived. Can EMP? Quanta, he can at least deny the 4th, but I'm sure he wants more than that. He could even win the game with this push. But again, a lot of it will come down to the EMPs. Army sims in. Quanta, he has spotted the gold. Tanks are pushing forward. Rebellion, the first Colossus, I believe. No, sorry, has not arrived. He's going Disruptor. Tanks sieging up within range of the expansion. 2nd Ghost has arrived. 3rd Ghost has arrived. You can see Rebellion getting ready for a surround. He's pushing in. He's committing. The Ghost! No! 1, 2, 3 Ghosts go down. Not a single spell goes off. And just like that, Rebellion, he shuts down the army. Ay, ay, ay. Quanta, he was caught with his pants down. Not like this. He was caught out. He lost everything. And just like that, the momentum swings heavily in favor of Rebellion. And now once again, the turns have tabled. There's nothing at home to defend. We have a bunker. We have no tanks. We have no setup. Quanta just now establishing his 3rd. And here comes Rebellion. We'll shut down the 3rd base, and he can keep pushing from here. Alas, Quanta did a great job defending earlier, locking down the main army, but he just wasn't able to achieve too much with the counterattack. There was potential. There was potential when it came to either getting on top of the 4th base or getting on top of the 3rd. But alas, Quanta, he took a little bit too long. Time was of the essence. And Rebellion looks like he will take the first game as he breaks the natural. Marine trickling in. GG gets called, and Rebellion will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Rebellion, he had a very strong response to the 3-racks. Again, he completely shut the 3-racks down. He punished it very nicely as well. But if you remember, Rebellion did overextend. He lost his entire army, and it was in that moment when momentum swung heavily in favor of Quanta. But as you saw, because Rebellion had such a great economy behind it, as time went on, Rebellion, he was able to stabilize. He was able to stabilize and exceed the army of his opponent. It did feel like Quanta was pretty all in, and it felt like Quanta didn't really have that urgency behind him with that counterattack. He was like slowly taking his time, slowly sieging upon the 4th base when he had to go for the kill then and there, and alas, he did kind of miss that window. I don't blame him. It looked like he was waiting for his ghost. It looked like he wanted to make sure he had like his 2nd and 3rd ghost so he could have a little bit more utility with his army, but because he was waiting for that as well, it allowed for extra warp-ins, and GG, well played. Rebellion does take the first game, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Oh, yeah, true. My apologies. Yes, EMP is on the science vessel. it's EMP is on the science vessel, and Lockdown is on the Ghost, if I recall correctly. So yes, my mistake. So Ghost has Lockdown and Snipe. That's it. So there was a part of my brain that was thinking as I was saying that, I was like, is the EMP on the Ghost, if I remember correctly? I'm like, trying to remember. But you're correct, right? Science vessel. So we're getting ready for game 2. Meanwhile, Science Vessel has EMP, has Irradiate, and there's a 3rd one. So Irradiate, EMP. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Oh, it looks like we made the wrong lobby. My mistake. Matrix, that's it. Matrix. It's been so long. Ah. But here we go. We're getting into our 2nd game. And it looks like it's going to be on Oceanborn as game 2. Let's go. Here we go. Spawning at the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brood War Terran player, the Korean Terran, representing his new team, Streamer Zone. Currently down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is a Quanta. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. Representing himself, currently teamless, it is Rebellion. Go. There it is. Sorry, I was just looking up the wiki. So, for those that are interested in the chats, I got you. Do you have a link? Bam. But there is a Wikipedia page specifically for SC Evo, especially because there are some differences between the Brood War unit and the SC Evo unit as well from the Brood War side. So changes have been made. Very slight changes to help when it comes to balancing the game. So it is always worth, if you're interested in checking out those specific units and those specific changes as well. As Rebellion is going to be opening up with a Gate Expand. Standard opener here by Rebellion. Standard economic opener, I should emphasize. Meanwhile, Quanta once again opening up with a CC first, with a CC into Rax. Okay. This time, double gas follow-up though, interesting. So I'm curious if Quanta is going to be going for a factory follow-up and he's not going 3 racks. Yeah, with these gases, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Waiting for the racks to complete, and Rebellion will confirm. He will confirm. So that was also kind of a rough moment for Quanta in the last game, as we were pointing out, is that Quanta did open 3 racks, and Rebellion, he saw everything, was able to respond, he was able to shut it down. Like Rebellion, he was able to scout and react very nicely. This time, something more standard from Quanta. Now, with a double gas opener, it means faster factory. This can lead into a more mech-based composition or just bio-tank with faster tank production in general, which can help stabilize on 2 and then 3 bases. So we'll see what kind of direction Quanta does go in. Meanwhile, Rebellion, once again, Robo Opener. This I'm less fond of. It made a lot of sense in Game 1 just because of what he had scouted. Here in Game 2, a little bit less so. I mean, it's still an opener. It can still work. It's just a very safe way to play, and it means that Rebellion, he won't have as much to try to poke in and try to punish and prod at Quanta's build. Alas, with a Robo Opener, it means that you lack the mobility that a Stargate or a Blink-based opener would give you. So it is going to be more defensive. Meanwhile, Adept does shade in. Ooh. Adept shades into the main, does confirm the double factory setup, and we have confirmation it is this time going to be mech for Quanta. It is going to be mech. There we go. Spider mines are being researched. Vultures are on the way. And we are soon going to be moving out. Let's go. And again, I would say that mech against Protoss is more viable in Brutal versus in SE Evo than it is in SE2. I mean, we still see it in SE2, right? We still have like these big like mass cyclone builds, and we have seen Bjorn, Clem, Gumiho, these big Terran players embrace mech every now and then, but it's a very different kind of dynamic, especially with the addition of the Vulture. Likewise, rates coming into supports. I imagine we're not going to be committing into too many rates, as the first one has arrived, making its way towards the main. Likewise, a Vulture setting up, Spider Mine just now being finished, and we can throw them down, and ideally try to bait the army into Spider Mines. And the mines are set up. Wraith into the main. Gets 2 probes so far, not bad. Doesn't have the highest attack rates, but getting damage done nonetheless. Gets 2 probes and gets the hell out of there, taking no damage. Quanta does pull away. Behind this, it was only initially Vulture, but now getting into tank production as well, as Siege Mode is almost done. Just initially getting ready with his Vultures, gaining map control, throwing down more of these Spider Mines. Meanwhile, Rebellion just now taking his third base. Now, this is a later third than we're used to, just because, again, Rebellion did go for a Robo Opener and did follow up with a Twilight Council as well. It's just really safe play out of Rebellion. Blink is on the way. Blink was delayed because of the Robo as well. So Rebellion having a slower start to Game 2. And this is allowing Quanta to build up. Additional factories are on the way. Third TC as well. Tanks are amassing. Scan looking for the Observer. Alas, the Observer was a little bit further out. A little bit of a feels bad, man. Observer does survive. And now it's on Quanta to just litter the entire map in Spider Mines. Spider Mines are just thrown down all over the place, and I mean, we're gonna be soon seeing even more than that. As I say that, so far Rebellion hasn't taken too many or any to the face. As he moves out, Vultures, they move in. Oh my god, they're so fast. Overcharge gets popped. Ooh, Stalker goes down. The warp in, not in time. Vultures, they bust into the main. They're going for the mineral lines. Boys being pulled away. We do have a reactive warp in. We blink into the main base as well, and we don't lose too much. That's going to be 6 probe kills in the main. 7 probes even. Ooh, barely 8. No, oh my god. 9 probes. Vultures, a 2-shot. Not bad. Did not know that. But 9 probe kills in the main base. Rebellion, his economy, I mean, it was already a delayed economy. As a reminder, winding it back, we spoke about how late the 3rd base was because of the initial build, and now the economy has been stifled even further. So the meching player has the greater economy, has the economic lead. Rebellion moving out, clearing up all these spider mines. Raze coming in from behind, going for the prism, not bad. Prism goes down, but here comes the main army, and what do we have to defend? We have only a handful of vultures. Can we protect the tanks? Tank boys going up, no charge, without charges, I don't think we can break this. A couple stalkers, they blink in, trying to bait out those spider mines. Observer survives. That was a brutal scan. Another scan gets thrown down. Observer goes down. No more detection. I say that. There's a second observer. Never mind. There is another observer. More reinforcements on the way. Rebellion trying to get a 4th base, but alas, there is a spider mine in position as well. He's in position. Does delay. Does not go off on the probe. Quanta sneaking out, I believe is spotted by the observer. But did Rebellion notice? Uh-oh. I'm not so sure he did. Charge is finishing up. That's going to be a massive upgrade here for Rebellion. He's going to be able to try to bait out all these widow mines, or these spider mines, with those zealots. Meanwhile, the vultures, they get across the map. Once again, Rebellion out of position, force a recall. Spider mines will connect. Just some zealots, nothing major. Spider mine's barely not going up. Vulture's getting caught out. And that was a pretty committed counterattack here by Quanta. Doesn't really achieve too much. I mean, does force back the main army, but I feel like Quanta was secure regardless. As he's building up quite a hefty tank count. He's got how many tanks? 9 tanks already. Soon to be 11. 11 tanks for Quanta. More vultures, more spider mines. Rebellion going into Sky Toss. Interesting timing here with the Stargate. I'm curious if this is for a fleet beacon and for a mothership, or if he's just getting ready for a later game state. Yep, there it is. Fleet beacon is on the way for that mothership. Okay, you have my attention. At the same time, I do love these, like, these safety spider mines that he throws down that he can always fall back to, or ideally designed to trap the army. Catch the army. Speaking of, the army has to go through it. But with the help of the observer, yeah, the spider mines, oof, just one goes off. Just the one. Quanta does pull away. Getting a 4th CC, still building up. That's still a lot of tanks. Jesus. 15 tanks, baby. Now, as amazing as this tank count is, and it's a terrifying tank army, that is true, without any support, a mass zealot-based composition can have its way with this. You know, we have seen time and time again, especially in the SC2 kind of dynamic between Mech and Protoss, with Immortal Zealot just having its way with these tanks. If they can get on top of the tanks, they will melt. But that is going to be heavily reliant on a larger Zealot count, likewise a heavier Immortal count as well. Rebellion, his economy was delayed, so because that, he's been having a hard time keeping up supply-wise with his opponents. There's a reason why, you know, his army is not as large as it otherwise could have been. Storm is on the way. Here comes the mothership. Quanta taking another expansion. Because Quanta is slow pushing and he's, you know, getting a 4th base, throwing down more turrets, more spider mines. Honestly, I wouldn't have been opposed to seeing another Stargate. I would not have been opposed to, like, just working towards carriers already. just because it looks like Quanta is being more passive. I mean, I say that Quanta is going to max out soon, but by the time he would have maxed out, I feel like we could have gotten into like Tempest or Carrier, ideally Tempest production. Alas, that's not happening. Rebellion is focusing on a ground army, and it is going to be a little bit more difficult to pull that off. Likewise, Goliath production has begun. Quanta, he saw the Fleet Beacon, he saw the Stargate, he knows that Skytoss is a possibility, so he's getting ready with those Goliaths. Science Vessel as well. Quanta is just perfecting his army, he's getting there. And again, thankfully for Quanta, there's no real Skytoss to speak of. So this tank army can still do well. Speaking of, here we go. Quanta is maxed and he's moving out. He is moving out across the map. Again, reinforcing with Goliaths. Storm is done. Storm is complete. Tanks are sieging. They're body blocking the rest of the army. So Quanta has to bring it all together here. As we do see Rebellion trying to catch the army unsieged. Yeah, the tank army late to siege, but big tank flow is about to go off. Massive connections. Oh my god. Yeah, the first couple of immortals do go down. Goliaths have arrived. Mothership taking a lot of hits. Mothership does survive. Storm as well, zoning back the army, actually getting caught here on the tanks. Oh my god, and so many of those vultures do go down, but the tank volleys have been insane. And Quanta is gaining more ground, slow pushing, slow sieging with those tanks. Rebellion trying to set up that surround, but again, he's still lacking those zealots. And the tanks, they siege. They have sieged up in time. And massive tank shots about to go off. We try to break out of this. But alas, even with the defense matrix going off, it looks like, oh, can the immortals clean this up? We're down to 2, down to 1. 1 immortal left. Now down to 0. The tanks, there's just too many. They do break through. Pylon goes down. We have Zealot reinforcements coming in. Again, without reinforcements, with a handful of Zealots, we could try to defend. We have 3 immortals here on the high ground as well. Quanta breaking the 4th. But you can see Rebellion, he's amassing an army. But can he break out? Mothership fell earlier. You can see Quanta trying to drag the army into their spider mines. Oof. Oh, spider mines! They do go up. They take down some of the Zealots. The rest of the reinforcements do hit the tanks. The immortals, they do well for themselves, but it's not enough. GG gets called, and Quanta will break through, and we'll tie up the series at 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. And again, Rebellion, his fight didn't go too poorly. He was able to trade, but he wasn't able to clean up the final line of tanks there towards the end. In the end, Quanta did get on top of the bases, did get on top of the economy, did snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. We're going to game 3. We're going to the ace match. Again, I do still feel like, again, if Rebellion had realized just how defensive and how, just defensive and more passive his opponent was being, that there was an opportunity to try to embrace Skytoss a little bit more. Instead, instead we did have a different approach here out of Rebellion, trying to take a more ground-based approach instead, which is heavily reliant here on surrounds, on outpositioning the opponent. If you remember, it was a bit of a shame that when Rebellion engaged with his ground army, Quanta was already sieged. He was ideally want to try to catch the army unsieged or like in the middle of sieging, but no, he was already set up. It was kind of the more ideal fight for Quanta. With that, was able to break through. We even had kind of the debut, at least on this channel, of the defense matrix as well from that science vessel. To buy time. Buy time to allow for those tanks to take extra shots. And now we're getting into game 3. Looks like we're gonna be joined by some of these other casters though. Okay. All good. Looks like a few others will join us. I think top. I think Kiwian is going to be joining us as well as a Korean caster, maybe some others. Ooh, as we do have some updates going on. We have some updates here when it comes to the bracket itself. Honmono has taken down Hydra 2-0, advancing on to the lower semifinals. Likewise, Classic took down MSRM, and Classic is actually about to begin versus Honmono. Ooh, that is a juicy series, but we're not going to abandon our boys. We're not going to abandon Rebellion and Quanta. We're committed. Are committed. We'll see how this all comes together. Show Rebellion's Brood War race. I mean, it's up to our players. How they want to approach this. Oh. Meanwhile, looks like Kiwian won't be joining us today. My apologies. I assumed that he was going to be casting in Korean, but not tonight. I'm sure he will be going over the replays, though. I'm sure that is something that Kiwian is going to be on. Maybe we'll catch them. Maybe. Here we go. Now the vultures will feast on their corpses. Ahí está. SMH. Here we go. We're getting into the ace match here. We're going to be loading into Sylphid, a 3-player spawn map. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Sylphid, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Brood War Terran, representing his new team, Streamer Zone. Tying up the series 1-1 with Mech. Can he bring it back in the ace match? Can he keep going? Can he go all the way? It is Quanta. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the SE2 Protoss. It is Rebellion. Here we go. Rebellion moving out with his initial probe scouts. And Quanta back at home may opt to go for another C. No! The SCV got trapped! No! Feels bad. The RNG, unlike SC2, depots do not, burrow. They do not actually go down. And alas, that SCV is going to be trapped instead. That's actually a little bit impactful in the early game. Like, every worker counts when you have so few to work with. So that is a brutal start for Quanta. Oh, no. Not like this. It's in jail, Bobby. So, unfortunate RNG there from Quanta. Very unfortunate. As the SCV's moving out across the map to scouts. Rebellion did try and check the natural. Didn't see much, though. So, once again, Rebellion does only check the ramp. And Rebellion will not confirm the location of Quanta. As a reminder, this is a 3-player spawn map. So, both players are scouting to try and figure out where exactly they spawned in. By the process of elimination, Rebellion now knows that Quanta is bottom left. Likewise, Quanta now knows that Rebellion is bottom right as well. Now, they know their spawn locations, but because of the late worker scout, they don't know their builds. Oh my god, it's a one-base all-in! As Quanta's actually floating his Raxes over. Is going for the all-in. 3 Raxes here right next to the base of Rebellion. Rebellion, he will scout, he will confirm. He's like, hold up, something is wrong. Something is amiss. There's 1 Rax in the main. It is a late Rax, and there is no CC. Something doesn't feel right. And it's on Rebellion to figure out what exactly is happening. Sending out a second worker. Likewise, Marines are already on the way. Bunker rush is coming. The bunkers, Pappy. The SCV is behind this. Rebellion behind this likewise also has one Stalker to defend. One Stalker so far. Bunkers on the way. And here comes the all-in. One way or another, the game will end. Either Quanta breaks Rebellion, or he dies trying. We have a shield battery behind this. Pylon getting targeted down. Stalker chipping away at that first Marine. The Marine does back away in time. The Pylon will fall. As the Stalker does want the SCV, it's going to be close. SCV's under fire. One more. Ooh, SCV goes down. Massive pickoff. The bunker does not complete. And the shield battery is almost done. But Rebellion, he gets zoned away. He gets zoned away. The shield battery is up, but he can't help. But so far, good kiting. Yeah, very nice kiting here out of Rebellion. Does focus on the Marines one after the other. The kiting is too good. One Stalker goes down. Finally, but just the one. Rebellion, he's barely holding on. There's one Marine left. He's going for that final Stalker. He wants it. He wants the Stalker. He doesn't get it. The boys are pulled. Shield battery are done. The overcharge is available as well. And Rebellion, he held. He has held. The bunker is going to be denied. The Stalker can hold its own. And Rebellion going for the counter proxy. He's crazy. The robo has been placed. Proxy immortal across the map. Meanwhile, Quanta going for a one base all, following it up with the continued one base all in. Tank production underway, and siege mode is being prioritized as well. So it's building up Marines, a little bit of supply blocks. Siege mode is on the way. And Rebellion is getting ready for that second wave, that second round of the one base all in. He's banking up those Marines. Meanwhile, Rebellion going for the probe scout, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. He did get eyes on the factory earlier, and he will get eyes on the tank. He knows. Spots the tank. He now knows what's going on. Now, we're in a really awkward position. I would like this a little bit more for Rebellion if this Immortal production was at home. Because then he could defend with Stalker Immortal. He could shut down the tanks. I do think it would be an easier defense here for Rebellion if he had Immortals to defend, but alas, he has them to attack instead. They're across the map. Now, he could always recall. He can recall the Immortal if he needs to. True. If he has the energy, I should say. Yeah, he does have the energy in the main. Medics have arrived. Stim is on the way. There, here comes that recall. But this also means that he only has one Immortal. Again, if he had the Robo back at home, he could have a second Immortal on the way to reinforce. Tank is within range. Probes are going down. Shields already triggered. Oof. Nice force fields, though. Very nice force fields. Marines, they are called out. Medics as well. Here comes the overcharge. Rebellion is trading well. Getting on top of the tank. And the tank will fall, but there's a second tank behind this. Rebellion falling back. And so far, it's been a good defense. Meanwhile, Tualepse shading across the map. The main army collapsing on the final tank, and Rebellion, he will shut this down. The final tank falls. And Quanta is down to a handful of Marines, 2 medics. Sure, he has Stim, but he can't really contest against this army. Not without reinforcements. He's pulling away. He does have that high ground advantage. Rebellion, likewise, ignoring the main army, going for the natural. Going for the main base of Quanta. Catching another tank. Another tank goes down. And Quanta is forced to chase this army. Again, Quanta, he wanted to fight on his terms. Alas, unable to. Scans ahead of time. But now down to 0 tanks. Quanta does make it back to his main. There we go. Another tank has just arrived. Will siege. Very nice force field. Tank volley's going up. The Marines are being cleaned up. And there's just not enough fire here. There's just not enough support for that tank. As it's gonna go down. And Quanta, he's run out of steam. He's run out of juice. There was potential with the all-in. But alas, Rebellion, he was able to survive the initial bioaggression. Was able to get the shield batteries up and running. He held initially, and it's been an uphill battle ever since then. There was potential, but alas, the boys are being pulled. The final SCVs are going down as well. And GG gets called. Rebellion will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Jesus, GG, well played, congratulations! Rebellion will take the series, but a shout out to Quanta because he made a series out of it, a wild build. And we had it back and forth. We had a 3-axe stim timing in game 1, we had mech in game 2, and we had some cheese, we had some 1-base all-ins, some kind of hidden, like, floated raxes in game number 3 as well. A wide array of builds out of Quanta. I do appreciate the, again, creativity and the flexibility with his style. Alas, Rebellion does come out on top in the end. GG, well played. GG, well played. Congratulations to Rebellion. And now we are getting ready for the semifinals. Oh boy, semifinals are going to be underway. And I believe the lower semis were held. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Classic and Homono is coming up next. Do need a moment to get that ready and get things underway. Un momento. Here we go. As you can see on the screen, let's switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket itself. Exclamation mark B in the chat. Guys, just have a look at the bracket yourselves. Here we go. Let's actually move things over now. We did have an update earlier, a very surprising update, but 3-point was unavailable. Hopefully nothing serious. Hopefully nothing wild did occur, but 3-point was unable to play tonight, which means it's up in the air. I mentioned before, but if I'm not mistaken, I think we have only had Zerg champions in the StarCraft Evolution League, whether it's 3-point or Shin. Let me actually, you know what? I can double check that. I can double check. And yes, I have confirmation. So it's either been 3-point or Shin. They have been the dominant forces in StarCraft Evolution. But this time, there is no Shin and there is no 3-point. We have confirmation. This week, we will crown a brand new champion. Is it going to be a Terran or a Protoss? Is it going to be Honmono, Rebellion, Classic, or one of the other players in the upper half of the bracket? Velvet Lena or Rumith? Could be anyone. Could be anyone. Regardless, it will be a brand new champion here tonight, and we'll see if Classic can walk that royal road. I mentioned before that I wasn't too certain as to how Classic would really look in this mod, and I'm still not certain. We're about to find out. For those that are maybe newer to the channel, maybe newer to SE2, and maybe more familiar with SE Evo, Classic, he is one of the best Protoss players in StarCraft 2 in the world. He is arguably top 2 Protoss in Korea, second only to Hero. Like, Classic is a very strong player in SE2. But this isn't really StarCraft 2, this is StarCraft Evolution. Because of that, I'm not as confident. We have seen these like full-time SE2 players jump into this and have a hard time in this mod, just because you do have to put time into practicing and competing and learning how these races interact. And I don't know how much time Classic has put into this. I'll be honest, I'm not too certain. So yeah, we're gonna find out together. We will find out together. It's gonna be beautiful. Now, the one SCV. I forgot about that, but that also did happen as well. The one SCV that was kind of trapped behind the depot. Smoge. I forgot about him. And I'm sure Rebellion's army forgot about him as well. He survived. But it looks like our players, they need a moment. They need a little bit of time here. Our players need a little bit of time to set things up, so it looks like we have a small break. Likewise, looks like the upper semifinals is getting ready as well, so the event is getting underway. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have Classic versus Honmono. Again, I'm so excited to see how Classic compares. I'm so excited to see how Classic does make use of the Brood War race. I'm pretty sure Classic did compete in Brood War back in the day, but this is a very different kind of setup, a very different mod, very different kind of game. I'm excited. I'm giddy. So we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Take this moment, get some snacks, get some water, get some food, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and stretch your roaches. We'll be back soon with the semis. See you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that break. Hope you were able to enjoy the OST, get some food, get some snacks, and get ready for the semi-finals because they have begun. Welcome, everyone, to the StarCraft Evolution League number 4. And again, we're about to crown a new champion. Oh, we're getting there. We're here in the semi-finals, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, the SC2 Protoss, representing Team Hyper 1. It is Hon Mono. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Rocking the Brood War Protoss race. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your Gamma going. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Again, if this was SC2 versus SC2, if this was just a standard StarCraft 2 game and standard StarCraft 2 series, I would favor Classic. 100% I would be behind Classic here. But this is not StarCraft 2, this is StarCraft Evolution, this is a mod, this is a hybrid here between StarCraft 2 and Brood War, and I'm curious how Classic can handle the Brood War race. Very curious. As Classic's going for a gate expand, a probe scout across the map, especially against Hon Mono. Hon Mono, double gas opener, double gas into Faster Factory. Now, if you're familiar with Hon Mono, you would know Hon Mono, he is an animal, he is an absolute, just ape in this matchup. It's a lot of fun to watch. He is a very aggressive Terran player in TVP. We have seen time and time again Hon Mono embraces 1 base all in, 2 base all in, 2 base all in again. He like Hon Mono, he does not stop. He doesn't know how to calm things down, so he's hyper aggressive in every single TVP match that we see. And I'm curious if Classic can keep up. Can he keep up here? For now, it is going to be the initial Dragoon on the way. Hon Mono moving out with his Reaper, trying to get a read on what's going on. Factory is in production. Hon Mono is not going to be a 1 base all in. Hon Mono, he will be expanding on the low ground, but we'll see where what this leads into. See if this leads into Hon Mono's classic 2 base all in, where he does opt to pull the boys. Meanwhile, Hon Mono, he dips in. He does confirm that, of course, Dragoon production is underway, and Dragoon range is also in production as well for Classic. Hon Mono is aware as additional Dragoon production is underway. Hon Mono with the second Reaper is looking for proxies, making sure that nothing weird is going on. Classic doesn't catch him off guard. So Hon Mono is on the hunt, trying to make sure that Classic is kept honest. At the same time, because of the positioning here, Hon Mono, he is out of position. The Dragoon does hit the natural and will delay the CC. Nice pickup. Gets an SCV. Waddles into the main. Gets a full scout as well. Confirms the 1-1-1. That is a faster starport here by Hon Mono. SCV started down. That's 2 SCV kills and a full scout. Not bad for 1 Dragoon. Not bad at all. Behind this, Hon Mono getting to a 3-1-1 setup, but this is a starport before the 2nd and 3rd rack, so this is more tech heavy. This allows for faster medevac production as well. This doesn't really scream 2 base all in, to me at least. Usually if it was, we would either delay or just skip the starport entirely. So Hon Mono has more sustain. Meanwhile, across the map, we have a wall of 4 Dragoons. Shield battery is done, and Classic does hold. Now, as opposed to SC2, there is no overcharge. It's just a straight up shield battery here for Classic. We'll be able to hold on to the natural for the time being. Likewise, no way into the main. Robo is on the way, and this can lead into shuttle production. I imagine it will be shuttles into potentially shuttle drops. Likewise, Hon Mono also getting to really early tank production. And speaking of shuttle, there it is. Shuttle is on the way. Likewise, observatory as well. You do require the observatory to morph in and warp in observers for detection. And there's the bay as well. The bay for shuttle speed and for Reaver production. So we're looking at the beginning of Reaver drop. If you're curious, Reavers are somewhat comparable to Disruptors in a sense. I think they're I mean, what they're similar in is just that they're a robo-based unit. They require a bay and they do splash damage. Outside of that, though, they are quite different. The Reaver is far slower, very slow, very immobile. Also, it has to produce the scarabs, one after the other, kind of like a carrier. Speaking of, Reaver is on the way. So it takes a while for the Reaver to really build up, to actually bank up those scarabs, to have some kind of sustain in a longer fight. On the flip side, though, scarabs do lock on. Unlike a Purification Nova that you can avoid, that you can dodge up. We're the boys! Of course we are! I mentioned before, Homeowner, he is known for 2-base all-ins, and I assumed that he was going to be macroing. How dare I make that assumption? No. Homeowner and macro, never bad. Hon macro is a myth. He's Hon mono bad. He's moving out. The boys have arrived so far. Good kiting here at a Classic. He does slow down the push. Does force earlier sieges. Ideally, Homeowner, he wants to get on top of the base, on top of the Nexus. He's taking time. He is taking time. The tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward. Classic warping in additional reinforcements. The first Reaver has arrived. And it's coming in for a flank. It's going for the bio. Scarab Shot goes off. Oh my god, massive connection! The bio army does crumble. The Concave in favor of Classic. He's going for the tanks. And can he clean them up? He's at 5 Dragoons. Ooh, the Dragoons, they cannot hold their own. The tanks, they hold the line. But alas, what is Homeowner really threatening here? He's threatening a pylon. Pylon goes down. Classic, he has time to rebuild, but he did lose the Reaver. Classic, he doesn't really have much of an army, not yet. He needs time. He needs time for reinforcement for another wave of Dragoons. The base is under fire. And Homeowner, he will knock down the third. And Banshees have arrived to reinforce. Another Reaver's on the way. More boys have arrived. Let's go. The all-in continues. Homeowner just muling his heart out. The second Reaver has made it. Is waddling in. Trying to sneak up on the army. There's one Scarab Shot available. Oh! Shot goes off on the tank. Ooh, not on the bio. Uh-oh. Classic's in trouble. Classic. Oh! Much better connection. Connects to the bio. Another shot going off as well. Ooh, and again, the Reaver does fall. So do the Banshees. One Banshee survives. Zealot goes down. And Homeowner still maintains his position. Now, what is terrifying? Homeowner, he's getting on top of the Robo. The Robo is under fire. Classic coming in from behind, at least trying to. Sets up 4 Zealots. Zealot speed finishing up as well. And getting on top of reinforcements. Nice control here at a Classic. Catches out 4 Marines. But the Robo has fallen. This is the only Reaver left. And massive tank shots going up. Targeting down the Dragoons. A couple of tanks are going down though. The Zealots are trading well. But there's still 1 tank left. 1 tank. Is it going to survive? Oh, it barely does. Oh wait, barely does. The tank lives. But alas, 1 more shot away from going down. Dragoon, he wants it. He wants a tank. He's dropping in. Hey, Classic with the micro. He wants that tank. Reinforcements have arrived. The tank is going to be able to survive a little bit longer. Gets a couple of shots off. Oh, does take down the Zealot. The other tank goes down though. Homeowner does overextend, and he's forced back in. Classic, he defends. He survives just barely. It's a very close hold. But Classic does survive. Gets a 3rd base, rebuilding the Robo. Classic has held. Homeowner behind this. Again, he wasn't really set up for a longer game. He has no E-base. He has no upgrades. No stim, no combat shields, no +1, no 3rd TC. Like, we were so all in with this build. And Homeowner, he's forced back. Now, what I will say is, even though Homeowner, he backed off, he's going to pull the boys again. Yeah, I was about to say that. Wait, if you think at any moment the Homeowner's going to macro, that's when he gets you. That's when he gets you, Pappy. If Classic, if he does macro up too hard, if he takes too hard, then he can be caught out. As Homeowner, he pulls the boys for a 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm. Ooh, 1 Banshee goes down. The boys have arrived, catching up some of these Dragoons. Zealots are across the map. They're getting a lot of damage done. SCVs are going down. Another Banshee falls. But the tanks are making their way over. They're trying to get on top of the natural. Storm is not done. Archons are on the way. We do catch a couple of pylons. Meanwhile, it's going to be 15 SCV kills across the map. And the Archons, they can tank some shots. Archons, they can hold their own. Especially with the shield battery, Cybercore goes down, but remember, Zealot's speed is done. You can see Classic getting ready for a surround. Archons from behind, catching reinforcements. And Marines are going down. Brutal losses here for Honmono. Losses he cannot afford. And we'll get an Archon. Does get one. Almost another. Bearing in mind as well that the shuttle doesn't have pickup range like the War Prism, so you have to be on top of the unit to pick it up, like the old War Prism at least. So one of the Archons does fall. And here we go, Classic Eaton. Almost pulls the trigger. He's waiting for it. That one Reaver banking up those Scarabs. 2 shots, now 3. 3 shots are available. And the Reaver does load up on the shuttle. And Homeowner, he has to pre-spread those Marines. As Classic is trying to catch reinforcements. Homeowner depowering some gateways in the main, getting some damage done, but the longer this goes on, the better it is for Classic. Homeowner, he doesn't know. He doesn't know about the third! He doesn't know! Again, Classic, he has so much saturation, so much economy, which is why he's building up such a terrifying army, and Homeowner, he has no idea. Banshees do make their way into the main. Damage is being done. Not bad. Getting 5 probe kills, 6 probes. That's damage, yes, but Classic still has a solid economy behind this. Still has 3 bases. This is not enough. And if Homeowner thinks he's containing his opponent, then he would be in actually a decent position. But he's not. And he still doesn't know. Otherwise, he could, you know, attempt to lay siege here instead. Boys being pulled to repair. Classic once again trying to catch reinforcements. Ooh. Getting Marine. Classic getting ready for 4th Nexus. No shot. Classic now with a terrifying army size. The soup is not lying. Not this time. The soup is not lying. And eventually Classic will be able to break out. Now he still has to push into this tank line with 4 bunkers, but he's going for it. Does pull the trigger, comes in from behind. Zealots, they collapse on everything, and yeah, Homeowner, he just cannot hold his own. Not anymore. The bunkers go down, the tanks go down. And Classic, he will shut down this main army, and he can keep pushing from here. Can keep going, does bleed out a couple of Archons. But remember, this bio army doesn't even have stim. They're vanilla Marines. They're so vanilla. Ah. This Classic does rally across the map. He will bleed out some reinforcements. The Banshees are popping off with their cloak. Not bad. But Zealots, they get across the map, and there's really not much to stop them. Oof. Yeah, the Reaver going for the mineral line as well. Oh my god. Looks like the Reaver's trying to lock onto the gas mining SCVs. They keep breaking the lock on. It's a little bit awkward. Likewise, Banshees across the map. Hey, they're trading well. Picking up Dragoons, picking up High Templar. But there's nothing else left. Everything else is on fire. The bases of Homeowner are flashing red. Oh, the mules for the repairs. Mules, they do get dropped in. Oh my god, the Homeowner. He's trying to make this work, but again, Homeowner, has he seen this? He still doesn't know. He still doesn't know about the 3rd or the 4th. Again, he thinks this is closer than it is. Like, given his limited information, if Classic was on 2 bases, then sure, this is understandable. Going into the main. Buildings are floating back. GG gets called, and Classic, he will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played, Classic. He will survive the all-in. Again, it was quite a terrifying all-in as well. Homeowner, he definitely had his moments. He almost broke Classic, especially when it came to the first move out, when he was pushing towards the natural, when he had caught out the Reaver, when he was gaining ground. There were definitely some good moments here for Homeowner, but Homeowner, he did not scout that Classic was expanding. He did not scout the third, so he had no, because of that, he applied no pressure there. He didn't deny any of the mining, he didn't deny any of the economy. So because of that, even though Homono was containing, or at least it looked like he was containing his opponent on 2 bases, really Classic, he had a perfectly solid economy behind it. He was able to build up, able to snowball out of control eventually, and break out. GG. GG, well played. Classic does take it in the end, and we'll see if Homono can bounce back and force an ace match. We shall see. As we're getting ready for game number 2, we're going to be loading into Polopoid. That is the 4-player map. Here we go. We are getting into that second game. And this time it is Classic's turn to play his main race, SC2 Protoss, and it's going to be Homono's turn to switch it up and play some Brood War Terran. Oh boy. The turns have tabled. And now I'm that much more concerned for Homono. I feel like that game 1 was his game to take. I feel like that was his moment to shine. Alas, didn't quite work out in the end, and oh boy, now we get to see Classic's final form. We can see him here at full strength, but before that, we're going to be introducing our Terran player spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Polopoid. We have our South Korean Brood War Terran player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is Homono. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean SC2 Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. One amass, one more to advance on to the finals. It is Classic. Here we go. Now, as a reminder, this map is a 4-player spawn map, so either player could have spawned in and loaded in any location, which is why we can see Homono moving out, and we're going for 2 gases back at home, racks as well. Are we going for a proxy in the center of the map? It looks like we are. Or are we waiting for the probe? The probe has arrived, SCV does confirm, and with that, Homono is now aware of the base location. So really nice movement there out of Homono. Does get eyes on the probe. And likewise, Classic is not fully aware of what's going on, but he's aware that something is wrong. He's looking for a proxy. I mean, Homono has a reputation, and it is going to be the proxy factory. Oh boy. Do we proxy tank? Are we that crazy? Let's go. As Classic is still trying to figure out where exactly Homono is, he's checking bottom right. Alas, Classic will check incorrect, or will guess incorrectly. So Classic is still in the dark. It could be an economic opener, or it could be an all-in. Classic doesn't know. He does not know what's going on. Factory is now done. And we're just going Vulture. Okay. So no tech lab and no tanks is going to be proxy Vulture for Homono. And here comes the second factory, Mass Vulture. Now, I believe Vultures, they two-shot probes, if I'm not mistaken. But Classic, he will scout, he will check, he will confirm. He does get eyes on both factories. He's aware of what's going on. He does spot the Vultures. And you can see there, they do 2 shots. So 2 Vultures will one-shot workers. And they can be quite threatening. Classic behind this, cornering out his first Stalker. Probes are under fire. The Stalker is going to be able to keep up. That's going to be 2 probes going down. The Vulture's quite fragile. It will go down. 3 probe kills so far. It's an okay start, but Homono, he needs more than that. Does need more as Classic is expanding, getting into a second Stalker. And doesn't take too many hits here to bring down a Vulture. Second Vulture has arrived. Sending back the Stalker. Shield batteries on the way for Classic. And Homono, he's going to be bleeding out these Vultures. It's not going to be worth it. We're bleeding out 2 Vultures for nothing. 2 Vultures go down, and Classic is shutting down this cheese. I mean, one of the Stalkers is low, that is true. But we have more Stalkers on the way. Homono pulling back. He's trying to build up those Vultures. Up to 3. 3 soon to be 5. Gonna be trading 1 for 1. 2 for 1 even, not worth it. 2 more Vultures fall. Homeowner getting a third factory back at home. Again, he's just going mass vulture. But he's bleeding out too much. Yeah, brutal losses. As Classic is camping the production. Meanwhile, Homeowner, he gets supply blocked. Now is not the time. A brutal supply block. Depots are on the way. Supply block is broken. And Classic behind this did follow it up, not with the second gateway, but with a Robo. Robo into Immortal, that will be a secure way to shut down really any kind of mech-based army. Immortals are ideal. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Classic. Shield battery is done. Overcharge is going to be available. There's a sentry for a force field. In saying that, Homeowner has actually built up quite a considerable amount of vultures. It's going to be how many? 8 vultures in total. They could potentially try and dive into a mineral line. Potentially, but that's where the sentries come into play with their force fields. So Homeowner, he can try to make this work. It's not going to be easy, though. Oh, it's the point. Let's go. As the boys are being pulled. Yeah, the boys are soon to arrive. And he's coming for the surround. He's at least trying to, but the Prism has arrived, and Classic, he can just micro back. He can't save his units. The overcharge is full. The boys are being pulled as well for Classic. Yeah, the shield battery overcharge putting in a lot of work. Does keep that Immortal alive. The Immortal is immortal. It doesn't go down. Tanks so many shots. And yeah, Homeowner, he knows. Yeah, he knows at this point. Dancing the Vultures, alas, as he will lose everything, and there's no way to break the natural base. The SCVs are fallen. GG gets called, and a Classic will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Classic will advance on to the grand finals. My condolences to Honmono. Again, he put up a fight, especially game 1. Game 1 was close. You know, game 2 was more one-sided, but I don't want to take away from what happened in game 1. It was a very clutch hold out of Classic. Game 2, as soon as Classic was able to get a read on what was happening, he was so quick to just camp the production, to, you know, not afraid to break out and to really take the fight to those vultures, and was able to stifle the vulture production early on. Homeowner just losing too many vultures too quickly, and it took him a little bit too long to build up that kind of mass amount of vultures to kind of break the expansion. GG. GG, well played, very well done here by Classic. He will advance on, and the question becomes, who will be his opponent? Up next, we have the upper semifinals. It's going to be a PvZ between Rebellion and Rumia. Yeah, let's go. Let us go. As we have not casted any Zerg tonight until now. Now, I am unfamiliar with this Zerg player. It is a Korean Zerg, but he is more of an amateur player. So it's really cool to see that he is investing his time into SC Evo, and I'm very curious to see how he compares and how he competes against Rebellion. Rebellion is the heavy favorite, but I only say that because I'm very unfamiliar with his opponent, with Rumia. Rumia? Yeah, I'll go for that. Let's go. Let us go as we are loading into game 1 on Oceanborn. We're going to be loading in. As a reminder, this is a fresh best of 3 as well. Fresh best of 3 series. Here we go. Here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. For the first time tonight, we have a Zerg player. It's crazy. Let's go. We have the South Korean Zerg, the red Zerg, representing the brutal race. It is Rumia. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the SE2 Protoss. It is Rebellion. And if you are in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time for predictions. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Coming into this, I will be favoring Rebellion, but I'm excited to cast Rumia for the first time. I'm very unfamiliar with him. I have not casted him at all, or ever. Likewise, I haven't noticed him in these brackets either, so I'm curious how he compares to Rebellion. I'm quite curious. Oh, shout out to Hyper One. Roommate. Okay. So not room me, roommate. Okay, I got you. As roommate is going to be opening up hatch gas pool. Interesting. So standard opener so far is Forsake the Unnatural Natural. Almost as if he's playing this out like, yeah, like SE2. Interesting. Should be taking his second base though, or his third expansion. Waiting for those minerals. Hatchery has been placed and is just settling in. Likewise, Rebellion can be very aggressive in this matchup. We have seen many an all-in from Rebellion against 3-point in PvZ, and I also expect Rebellion to be the aggressor here against Roommate as well. You kind of expect that. We'll see if he does bring that to the table. Meanwhile, Link Speed is on the way. Roommate does not pull out a gas, so with this extra gas mining, that means he can go into a faster lair. And typically in this matchup, we do see lair into Lurker tech, so kind of Ling, Hydra, Lurker as a unit-based composition. That is most likely what we're going to be working towards. There is a world where maybe we go into a lair, into extra gases, into Muta play. I mean, that would be wild. It'd be amazing to see. That is also an option, but a more unlikely choice here for Roommate. A little bit more unlikely. On top of that also, before I forget, another big difference here is that Hydra tech is hatch tech. It's only the layer that is required for the lurkers, as a heads up. So you can go Ling Hydra off of hatch tech as well. As that does shade in between the bases, heading towards the natural. Behind this, Rebellion going for a Stargate opener. Should be Stargate into Oracle. Or he could open up Void Ray as well, it's possible. See what direction he does take. As Roommate is still just building up, getting a macro hatch in between the bases. What I find interesting is that we actually are lacking some spore colonies, and there we go. Colonies are being thrown down. Likewise, a little bit surprised we have no setup for any kind of sunken colonies either. But he's just getting ready for that spore defense for the Oracles. Lings, they move out across the map. They check the wall. It is looking solid. Rebellion throwing down shield batteries behind this. And we'll see if Rebellion off of this Oracle opener expands and takes a third, or if he techs up instead. Our eyes are on the Protoss. Meanwhile, back at home, we spoke about Hydras, and there it is. Hydra Den has been placed, so it looks like it's not going to be Ling into Muta. Looks like Hydra's on the horizon, and this can lead into Lurkers, as we did mention before. Ooh. The Oracle does get 2 drone kills, not bad. 2 workers go down, extra gases are being taken. And I imagine we should soon be taking into a lair. If not, something like a hatch-based all-in could be viable here for Roommate. As there it is. Lair is on the way. Lair is now in production. We're just happily joining up, saturating our bases, settling in. We are going to be settling in. Likewise, Roommate moving out with his first couple of Lings, trying to get a read on the timing of the third, making sure there even is a third base, and does get eyes on it. So at least he's aware that Rebellion is not going for a 2-base all-in. Oracle's making their way towards the natural. Will force a reaction from those drones. Bearing in mind as well, the Queen is a very different kind of unit here in this map or in this setup. So just spores to defend. Roommate so far, he is holding. I mean, Hydras are building up. Hydra speed on the way. +1 range as well. The Hydra's already moving out across the map, actually. And this is lining up with +1. So Roommate, he is committing. Rallying everything across the map as we speak. The Oracles have yet to confirm. The Oracles have eyes on saturation, but not much else. As it is only 4 gases, and we're not fully saturated here at the third. Not yet. Ling Hydra has arrived. There's 1 shield battery, there's 1 overcharge. But no other upgrades. The Hydras, they don't quite break through. Not yet. They're going to be forced back. Lurkers are being researched. Hydra's building up. Roommate cutting workers here at 52. Oh. Trying to catch out the Oracle. Bearing in mind, as time goes on, Rebellion has a better economy, and it can build up a larger army. Roommate is pretty all-in. He's very committed here. Lurkers are now researched. Now they're morphing in. 3-4 lurkers on the way. So it is a lurker-based all-in here for Roommate. Pushing into cannons. The lurkers have arrived. Reinforcements on the way. And they're going to be burrowing in. The overcharge gets popped. The first cannon goes down. Second cannon as well. Ooh, and is there detection? Yeah, lurker shots going off. The force fields are solid, but is there enough DPS? Is there enough kind of splash damage behind this? Or just damage in general? Yeah, the Hydras are breaking through. There's only one immortal. Overcharge runs out. There's still 3 lurkers left. A 4th lurker on the way. Oh, and it's going to be close. Nice concave here from Rebellion. Doesn't quite get on top of the lurker. Almost. Has a revelation. Hydras are going down. Oof. Another lurker does morph in just in time, going for the mineral line. Lurker goes down. More Hydras trickling in. And the Hydras are going down one after the other. Some brutal losses here for Roommate. Rebellion, it looks like he is going to be able to hold on. Here come the reinforcements. Get the revelation up. The base is getting low. The Nexus is very low. But the army's going to be cleaned up. Oof. Yeah, taking down almost every single lurker. There's one lurker left. Gets revealed, goes down, and he saves the base! With the second overcharge, the Nexus is saved, and Rebellion maintains his worker count. 58 probes against 55 drones of Roommate. Now he's backing off, he's droning up. Building up lurkers to defend. And again, this wasn't all in. Didn't quite break Rebellion, and now Rebellion, he's able to survive this. He's getting into +2, he's getting into disruptors, and getting a 4th expansion as well. So I do have to favor Rebellion here. He holds, he survives. It's looking good. The pressure is still on the Zerg to try to bounce back. But now they're droning. Do have the Queen's Nest on the way. I mean, Queens are an amazing supportive unit, and they definitely can help Roommate survive. But he needs time. Does need time. As Rebellion is now up to 3 disruptors. More Hydra Lurker Ling building up. Now, as a reminder, when it comes to the Queens, it's a very interesting unit, especially compared to the spellcasters of SC2. The Queens that have their own kind of version of Revelation with Parasite. Likewise, they also have their own version of Fungal Growth in Ensnare. With that, I mean, I still feel like the spells in Brood War are crazy. Like, they're so good. But Ensnare, it does last so long compared to a Fungal Growth in SC2 to lock down the army. And we'll see if we can get there. As the Hive is on the way. Lurkers are set up here on top of the high ground. Forcing back the army. You see Rebellion rotating around towards the left-hand side. There it goes off. Ooh. Can one-shot Lurkers. Here we go, Rebellion does collapse on the main army. Do try to set up the surround. Novas do not connect, and Lings, they come in to collapse on the army. Storm's going off. Disruptor's getting caught out. Yeah, massive catch here for Roommate. Resets the disruptor count, but does not clean up the army. At the same time, massive Zealot Warp in here at the natural. Busting into the mineral line. Drones are falling. At the same time, Hatchery's going down as well. Yeah, Rebellion just pulling Roomate apart. It wasn't a bad fight, but it wasn't good enough. As Roomate is down to 4 bases, so is Rebellion. So an even base count. And Roomate is going to be taking up into Ultras. Into Ultras, into Defilers, not into Queen. Not yet, at least. As he's still just building up his Lurkers. I mean, again, getting into these high-tech spellcasters is going to be amazing, but the economy is what I'm concerned about. The economy is lacking, and as a result, that is reflected in the army supplies. His base is denied. The Rebellion is moving out. He's got how many High Templar? 6. 6 High Templar, each with at least 1 Storm. Massive amount of Archon, and Roomate has to defend with mainly Ling. A lot of these Lurkers are out of position. Lurkers rotating back around. Ling's getting caught out. Never not quite connecting. Ultra production has begun. Defilers are on the way. Ooh, Zealot drop into the main. Actually takes down the Ultra Cavern. Uh-oh. Not a bad pickoff. Zealot's trading well. We have 2 Ultra Caverns on the way. Bit excessive. Just a bit. The Filers are just gathering up their energy. Getting ready for those Dark Swarms. Plague as well. Lurkers pushing forward. Never goes off. Oh no! Oh my god, massive connection! Yeah, Storms as well. Feedbacks on some of the spellcasters. We do have a Dark Swarm. But alas, the Ultras have to stay under that swarm as well. Rebellion, he can just rotate around, can ignore it. Head over towards the left-hand side. Roomate has to pull back. And again, Rebellion is maxed out. Roomate has a lot of catching up to do. And alas, he just has no time. Nerv's going up into the mineral line. 4th base under fire. Lurkers trying to come in, but they cannot touch the army. They cannot engage. Not like this. Meanwhile, another Zealot warping into the main, just pulling Roomate apart. And he's going for a base trade. I mean, it's like his only chance, but even then, Rebellion can just commit. Has a stronger army, breaking through the 3rd. Getting into the mineral line. Ultra upgrade's going to be denied. I mean, at least the Ultras are catching reinforcements. Not bad. Pushing into the natural. But the main army of Rebellion, it just can't be stopped. Not anymore. Not in this kind of game state. No shot. Rebellion even taking it to Sky Toss. Link's pushing towards the 3rd, but we have cannons, we have shield batteries, we have immortals like Rebellion. He's holding. He's holding back at home, and he's breaking through the front line here across the map. The defensive line even. Storms on the Hydras, Lurkers pushing forward. There's only 3 Lurkers. They get stormed as well. Yeah, two Lurkers left, down to 1. GG gets called, and Rebellion will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid performance there out of Rebellion. And again, a big reason as to why Roomate was struggling there was because, if you recall, Roomate went for an all-in. Went for an all-in, and the all-in did fail. It was from that moment that Rebellion snowballed out of control, had the better economy, got into a 4th base, teched up into Storm and Archons. We saw that Roomate attempted to try to transition into Hive Tech, into Defilers and Ultras, but alas, it was the economy that was really hurting Roomate. He just could not sustain himself and was stuck on 4 bases, didn't have a 5th for so long. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Roomate was outscaled over time. Was eventually outscaled. And Rebellion snowballed out of control. GG. GG, well played. Rebellion does take a lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. Getting ready for that 2nd game. It looks like they're just trying to get that second map ready for us. Just preparing. And again, Remake didn't have a bad build whatsoever when it came to the initial all-in. It's just it did actually feel a little bit delayed when it came to the lurker timing with those initial 4 lurkers, or I should say 3 lurkers. Wasn't able to get the best position, and of course Rebellion was able to scatter ahead of time, so was able to respond, able to react, and shut it down. So really impressive defense out of Rebellion. We do just need some time to get things set up. Oh, fabulous day. I got up this morning, all I wanted was quack in my veins. Hello, Tater Shooter, hello. Dad, ¿cómo estás? See, shady in the chat as well. Freakster, MW, welcome. Bienvenidos. Good to see you. Hope you've been enjoying the broadcast so far. Now, something that I'm a little bit disappointed in is that so far in the tournament, we have not been able to feature some of the other more unorthodox maps, for good reason, I would imagine. We have not been able to cast Paradox or Monty Hall. Not yet, and I'm hoping we can get some of that in at least the finals. I think in the finals they force those maps, for better or for worse. To look forward to it. But, yeah, hopefully we can embrace some chaos on those otherwise chaotic wild maps out there. If you haven't seen Monty Hall or Paradox yet, you're going to be in for a treat. Assuming that they get forced. I'm buenish. Buenoish. I see. That's good to hear. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of a Polypoid, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Brood War Zerg. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is Rumain. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player leading the series 1-0. It is Rebellion. Sorry, did I say Brood War Zerg? My apologies. SC2 Zerg against the Brood War Protoss. The hatchery skin threw me off because this is the classic Zerg hatchery skin, so I was a little bit confused, so I do apologize. But it is SC2 Zerg. So the roles have been reversed. Meanwhile, Rebellion is real quick to scout. Very fortunate. As a reminder, this is a 4-player map. That is why we have the Overlord being sent towards the right and the Overlord being sent towards the left-hand side, looking for the expansion. Based on how quickly the probe got here, though, Rumieth should be aware that it is not a cross-spawn location. It has to be the horizontal spawn. Because of that timing. Meanwhile, hatch gas pool, standard opener here out of Rumieth. Rebellion going for the gate. Oh, no. Sorry, going Nexus first. Right? Yeah. Nexus first here from Rebellion. Oh, I mean, Nexus first in a way with a Forge full of going for a cannon rush. Oh my god. The cannon rush is underway. Rebellion looking down that ramp. Pylon is done. Cannons are on the way. My apologies. I just assumed that was a gateway. I was like, oh no, yeah, everything looks normal. Everything looks standard. My apologies. It is anything but with that Forge. And the cannon is going to finish up. And as a reminder, this is not an all-in. This is a Forge expand, essentially, for Rebellion. It is economic. It is designed to deny the expansion. It is designed to kill this hatchery. That's all it needs to do, is kill the base, and then Rebellion can transition from there. You may have forced to throw down that Roach Warren. Roach Warren is on the way. Hatchery is under fire. It's going to be 2 cannons within range. And Rumaith, again, is just stuck droning, is stuck saturating, taking his gases, getting to his first queen. And Rumaith will eventually break out, but the question becomes, after he breaks out, can he counterattack and can he punish the economy of Rebellion? That is the question. And so it is, 3 roaches on the way. Hatchery, of course, did complete. Hatchery should go down. And these roaches can morph into Ravagers, bear that in mind when it comes to the counterattack. The roaches, they do slip by. It's going to be 3 roaches here for Rumate. And they can morph into those Ravagers. Oh, he's supply... No! He's supply blocked! Ay. Rumate, that Overlord was a little bit late. There we go. The Ravagers are now morphing in. He will take control of the high ground at least. Pylon goes down. Roche will shut this down eventually. And here come those Ravagers. At the same time, Rumate going for a ninja base. Expanding elsewhere. Ravagers have arrived, going for the cannon. So far, so good. Cannon is under fire. Is out of range. Ooh. First cannon falls. Forge as well. Well, there is a Dragoon on the way. Now popping out. Dragoon has arrived. Oh! Filing down the Forge. Forge has fallen. Ooh. Ravager almost falls as well. Behind this, that is 4 shield. That's a bit of an overreaction. 4 shield, but there we go. One of them is cancelled. Only 3 do complete. That's still quite a hefty investment here into site defense. And again, Rumate is trying to stabilize. Double expanding, getting his natural up and running. The unnatural natural droning up. Ooh, the lair is done. Getting into roach speed. Meanwhile, Rebellion is taking up as well. Working towards a Robo. Working towards, I would imagine, potentially Reaver production. And shuttle speed as well. So essentially from here, the game will continue. Rebellion is in a better economic position. You can see here Rebellion with a worker advantage. Has been mining more for longer as well. It's a little bit awkward for Rumate to actually saturate this natural expansion. Here's double expanding. From here, the best option might just be to go for an all-in, or at least fight to contain Rebellion on 2 bases while being greedy. We'll see if Rumate can pull that off. As he does snipe the Ursadon. Here comes that shuttle speed. And the shuttle as well. Looks like it is going to be a Reaver drop. The Reaver drop is on the way. Oh! Ravagers going for the Forge once again. Trying to deny +1. Dragoons do break out. Oof. Almost taking down one of the Ravagers. Almost. Oh, the miles! Oh my god! Massive connections! Rebellion not paying attention. Again, focusing elsewhere. So very nice connections. Rebellion doesn't lose anything, but he's forced back. He is forced back. The Ravagers do survive. Behind this, Rumate is still droning, is still saturating, and Rebellion is diving in with that Reaver. Now, because the Overseer Scout, Rumate is fully aware. He saw the Bay, he saw the Robo, he can piece it all together. It should be one thing and one thing only, Reaver drops. Likewise, Dragoon range finishing up. Likewise, shuttle speed finishing up as well. And we'll see how Rumate does respond. And still doesn't have the ideal worker count that we're really hoping for. Still droning. Dragoons have broken free. Here comes that Reaver. Reaver actually going for an army shot instead. Bold move. I assumed the Reaver drop would be going for the economy, but looks like that is not the case. Reaver threatening a shot. Oh! Ooh, does connect. Softens up the Ravagers. But the army does break out. Another shot goes off, but the Dragoons are left idle. And the Dragoons will be cleaned up. A better trade here for the Zerg. We'll clean up all the Dragoons. We do get some decent Reaver shots, but alas, he runs out of Scarabs. And Rumate does defend, and now he's moving out across the map, and Rebellion doesn't really have much to work with. Rebellion is in trouble. He is in trouble. Rumate cutting workers at 47. This is a 2.5 base all-in. Drones are falling, but he doesn't care about his drones. Rumate, he doesn't care. He's all in. It's all or nothing. Roaches, they move out. They deny the third. Third base will not finish. Rebellion is in trouble. expansion goes down. Pylon goes down. Rebellion trying to build up Dragoons, but again, they lost so many earlier. He was caught out. Breaking the natural is still going to be difficult with 2 shield batteries. It's not an easy feat here for Roommate. But he's doing well. Outside of getting supply blocked. Oh, and he did lose 9 drones. And Roommate, he's going to try to macro out of this. I mean, at least he is containing, right? At least he denied the 3rd. True. That is true. So Roommate isn't in the worst position. Still has invested so heavily into this army and still ideally wants to make use of it. Because of that, Rebellion should not be able to expand. But there's the 3rd. Here we go. Second time's a charm. Roach army gets spotted. Coming in from behind. Reaver shots going off. Big connections on the Roaches. Ooh, but the Reavers are getting a little bit too low. We come in first to the surround. And the 3rd base is denied for the 2nd time. The Dragoon count completely resets. The Reaver shots were good, but not good enough. Rebellion is still stuck on 2 bases. And once again, lost so many Dragoons. I'm a little bit afraid to look, but it's been 19 Dragoon kills. Expensive losses here for the Protoss. Trying to work into Storm. Taking 6 Dragoons at a time. Good connections. They get some okay shots. Catching a Roach. Hydras have arrived. Now Roommate has some consistent anti-air. The shuttle has to be careful. Trying to get ahead of the pack. As Roommate is reinforcing once again, moving out for the 3rd time. Storm is done though. Storm on the Ravagers. Hydra switching forward. 1 Reaver goes down. 2nd Reaver goes down. There's 1 Reaver left. Ooh. A clutch pickup, and this time it's going to be Roommate's time to overextend. It's his turn. Roommate, he took a lot of those Scarabs to the face. And the Storm as well. And with that, he lost the majority of his army. He has to back off. Roommate at least has almost up to 60 workers. Almost 3 base saturation. Not bad. But has to rebuild. And this means for the first time, I mean, the 3rd time is the charm, as Rebellion finally expands and takes the 3rd. The 3rd base will complete, will finally finish. Rebellion, he has an economy, or at least he's getting one. His economy is getting up and running. You see Roommate trying to rotate around, trying to find another way in. I believe there is no Lurker Den. Yeah, there's no Lurker Den. There's no Infestation Pit. There's no Hive. Roommate is on Lair Tech and is going Roach Hydra with a handful of Ravagers. So right, Roach Hydra Ravager here for Roommate. For the Zerg. Once again, trying to set up a surround. And how much splash damage? We have 2 Eye Templar. Oh! Down to 1! 1 Eye Templar gets sniped. Reaver shots going off. Coming in for another surround. Decent storms on the Roaches and on the Hydras. But just the 1 storm. There was meant to be another. Despite that, Rebellion he will hold. Very nice defense. It did cost Rebellion some high-tech units, but he was able to shut down the initial flank. And Roommate, he wasn't quite able to get the surround he was hoping for. And now I am once again concerned for the Zerg player because, again, the economy is not ideal. Roommate, he's been struggling with these trades. And this time, Rebellion, he comes out strong with a solid Dragoon count. He has an army. More High Templar morphing in. There's a Storm. There's 1 Storm available. 2 Disruptors. I said Disruptors. 2 Reavers here in the shuttle. Shots going up. And just the 1. Pushing into a concave. Nice Storm on the Hydras. Oh my god, the Storm! The Storm! The Storm shuts down the Hydras. And do we have another? Yeah, there's 1 more Storm in the chamber. Reaver shots once again going up. Where's that Storm? Still holding on to it. Still that 1 High Templar in the center of the army. As Rebellion expands towards the Zerg. Bold move here by Rebellion. Expanding into Roommate. So far working out well. Yeah, we'll maintain this position. And you can see Rebellion is right next to the expansion of Roommate. He's right next door. The Reavers from behind. Storm on the Hydras once again. Oh, once again, no! He runs into the storms. Gets the Reaver, but I don't think that was worth it. Lost so many Hydras. Lost all the Hydras, actually. And now we can see Rebellion coming in for a flank, coming in from behind. And Roommate, he lost too much. Lost far too much there. The High Templar goes down. But so do the Roaches. And now there's just no Zerg army remaining. The storms were brutal. And there might not be any High Templar remaining, but they did their job. And the damage was done. Rebellion breaking through, catching reinforcements. Shuts down the Roaches, getting into the mineral line. And it looks like he's done it. GG gets called. Rebellion will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. Whew. GG. GG, well played. I'm a little bit in awe. I'm a little bit shocked here, not gonna lie. I thought Rebellion was dead. When we saw Rumith deny the third base twice and catch out all the Dragoons as well, I thought that was it. I thought that was game. I wasn't really too confident in Rebellion's ability to actually get a third base up and running, but we saw the turns table. We saw everything change when Rumith took a bad fight at the third, when he overextended. That allowed Rebellion to finally expand and get his third base up and running. That meant that he could actually afford to get his production going as well, making 6 Dragoons at a time, getting into Storm Tech, getting into High Templar, getting to Archons, more Reavers. Rebellion was able to stabilize, and Rumith took one too many bad fights. And towards the end as well, we were pointing out, it wasn't just one too many bad fights. On top of that, Rumith did not have the best economy either. He did not focus too heavily on droning. Rumith himself was also very committed as well. So over time, things were looking more and more bleak for the Zerg player as the game progressed. GG. GG, well played. Rebellion does take it in the end, and we have our grand finals. It's going to be a best of 5 PvP. You know, I'm used to PvPs on the one hand, but usually SC Evo is my escape from that. Usually it's like, oh, we can have like some Zerg representation in the finals. Not this time. Not this week. Again, 3 Point, the reigning champion, something came up. He was unavailable, so 3 Point was not able to compete tonight. As a result, we have purely Protoss. Is it Sparkling Protoss Cup once again? Not quite. The StarCraft Evolution Protoss Cup instead. Let's go. The PvP is getting ready, and vetoes are underway. Let's go. It's a taste of what's to come in the coming days with the Open Cups. It begins a little bit earlier this week, as we are getting things ready and settling in. And it is going to be a PvP between Classic and Rebellion. Now, I do favor Classic somewhat. I mean, it's still hard to say. We only got to see one game. We saw one game of Classic's Brood War Protoss. I don't think that was quite enough information to go off of, so I'm still very uneasy about how Classic is able to get into these games with his Brood War. I say that it was still a pretty solid kind of setup that he had against Hard Mono, so yeah, maybe I would be favoring Classic here, but we'll see. Rebellion has been spending a lot more time on this mod, a lot more time in SC Evo. Because of that, Rebellion, he has at least experience on his side when it comes to this mod. We'll see if that's enough. See if that's going to be enough. As we are jumping into game number 1. Let's go! We're jumping into Paradox! Now, we have been casting quite a bit of this map as of late, but I have never casted a PvP on Paradox. I'm very curious how this unfolds. I actually want to say that there's probably a big advantage for SE2 Protoss, right? Because of the Warp Prism. I mean, I guess you could try to rush Shuttle but it's not the same, right? Like, I feel like the Warp Prism as a utility unit, it is so impactful on an island-based map like this. So we'll see who's able to embrace that StarCraft 2 Protoss and how they approach it. Let's go. Let us go. Likewise, I mean, I say Warp Prism. I feel like the SC2 Protoss player would be very tempted to go for a Phoenix-based opener, right? Like 100%, right? Like double Stargate Phoenix would make sense as well. very curious. It's always fascinating to see how mirror matchups play out in StarCraft Evolution. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's go. As the vetoes are done. And we're getting confirmation from Hyper 1 that Paradox is confirmed game 1 and Monty Hall will be game 2. Ah, beautiful. Forcing some of these crazy maps. It's what we all wanted, Pap. Ah, no. The Clown Fiesta is upon us. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know what Paradox is, you're about to find out. We're going to experience it together. Experiencing a PvP on Paradox for the first time even together as well. Let's go. It's been years since StarCraft 2 has been able to feature an island map. Let's go. As sporting in the top right hand corner of Paradox, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Brood War Protoss. Representing Twisted Minds, it is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the StarCraft 2 Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Rebellion from South Korea. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. As we are going to be settling in. And again, welcome one and all to the grand finals of the StarCraft Evolution League. Again, predictions open. Place your bets. Best of luck. And if you want to help support this tournament, before I forget, !Matcherino in the chat as well, where you can help support this tournament via the Matcherino page with coupon codes, with your own donations as well. Get on that Matcherino if you enjoy StarCraft Evolution. If you want to help support these players, that is your avenue of doing so. Meanwhile, we're settling in. And again, ooh, Rebellion going for a gate expand, and Classic going Nexus first. Now, a couple of things here. You have your own island. You have your very own island here on Paradox. You have 3 bases. 3 bases, 2 high-yield gas geysers as well. 1 regular gas geyser, but 3 bases all to yourself. So it makes sense for Classic to open up Nexus first. I am shocked that Rebellion did not do the same. So delayed expansion for Rebellion, going gate, cyber expand instead. My assumption here is that Rebellion is going to open Stargate. He has the high yield gas geyser. It makes sense to open up Stargate and to open Phoenix or open Oracle. We'll see which one it's going to be. Likewise, you have these islands in the center of the map. You have these 4 bases, 2 on the right, 2 on the left. They are somewhat connected by this landmass in the center of the map as well, where you can get high ground vision. You have like a cliff face that you can work with to get like tanks or lay siege upon the mineral line as well. So you can try to abuse some of these bases through the center. But again, you can be hyper greedy early on, and there it is. There is a Stargate. So this makes the most sense. So it's going to be a Stargate opener out of Rebellion. Again, I'm feeling like double Stargate Phoenix, but we'll see. From the side of Classic, I'm not too certain how he's going to approach this. Is going to be gateways, delayed cybercore from Classic, being a little bit more greedy, or being much more greedy. Oh my god, going up to 4 gates. Okay, 4 gate aggression here by Classic. Now this will mean he will have these extra gateways to defend. Now Classic, he has no idea what's going on. There is 0 scouting. Rebellion can scout with hallucination, so already big advantage for the SC2 Protoss player. As Rebellion can scout with hallucinations, can get a read on what's going on. It is going to be an Oracle based opener here for Rebellion. Meanwhile, Classic responds with his own Stargate. And again, as a reminder, Classic is playing blind, and Rebellion is not, as here comes that hallucination. So kind of, again, because our players have different tools here, I do kind of give the edge to Rebellion. I feel like he has a little bit more to make use of. He has a little more information at least, as he sees everything. He confirms the gateways. He confirms the Stargate as well. There's a second Stargate for Rebellion. So again, double Stargate Phoenix. This does make the most sense. And from here, are we going to see like double Stargate Corsair? Question mark? I mean, we're going to have at least Stalkers to support the army on the ground. And it is going to be a... there we go. It is going to be the Corsair. But just the 1 Stargate for now. So we could end up embracing Skytoss versus Skytoss. We could head in that direction. But of course, very different kind of Skytoss is what I should say as well. Bearing in mind that, of course, Classic is initially investing quite heavily into these Dragoons just to support his army. So he does have a lot of Dragoons first. Corsair has arrived. Oracle goes down for 5 probes. That's a lot of probes. 5 workers go down. Corsair is revealed. On top of that, we also have a revelation on the gateway, and we see the lack of production. So only a singular Corsair. And a big reason for this is Classic doesn't know. He doesn't know that his opponent is massing Phoenixes. Classic is still in the dark. The Corsair is just now moving out, and we can see Classic throw down a Fleet Beacon. Interesting. Fleet Beacon's on the way, shuttle as well. This is going to be risky. Getting this shuttle across the map is going to be a difficult endeavor for Classic, considering the mass amount of Phoenixes that Rebellion has. So I'm going to be impressed if Classic can get across the map with this. Meanwhile, Phoenixes, they do reveal themselves. Now Classic knows. 3 probe kills so far. Well, we have the 1v1. Let's go Corsair versus Phoenix. The Phoenix will win. Phoenix does shut the Corsair down. The Fleet Beacon was cancelled. No, it did complete. Oh, my apologies right there. Fleet Beacon did complete. But it feels like Classic is still just trying to figure out what he wants. There we go there. The shuttle falls as well. As I mentioned, I feel like Mass Phoenix is the go-to on an island map like this. And I would not be surprised if this is the first time the Classic is playing on this map as well. 100%. Like, you would never play on this map outside of tournament play. So Classic, he was taking in a lot of different directions. He's still trying to figure out what he wants. He's making another shuttle. He's working towards +1 in charge. Interesting. Or Zealot speed, Zealot legs. Temple Archives is on the way for Archon production for Storm. So it looks like Classic is committing to ground toss. So it's going to be commitment into a ground-based army. Curious. Meanwhile, with this map control, Rebellion, he can start taking bases. He can start taking the map. As Rebellion is also transitioning out of Mass Phoenix, he did go for initially 5 Phoenixes, only 5, and now he's working towards ground toss as well. I mean, still has the Fleet Beacon, and with that can start like a Mothership, for example. Is getting into Blinkstalker Immortal. 4th base now on the way for Rebellion. Again, he has map control, so he can just take base after base. There's not much to stop him. And he's even double expanding. At least thinking about it. They're throwing down pylons. Never mind. Just spotter pylons here for Rebellion. You can see Phoenixes are patrolling everywhere. The shuttle does hug the edge of the map. You can see Classic trying to take a ninja base. He's going for his own 4th. Does sneak out. Arbiter is on the way for Classic. That does mean he will have his own recalls. But yeah, the 4th base is scattered, and there's no saving this. And Classic is contained. It's going to be shut down. It is going to be contained. Cannon's going to finish up. And we do have Classic still massing on more Zealots. Again, it does look like he wants to go for a mass recall. That would make the most sense. Likewise, Rebellion also getting a ground army ready back at home. Hallucination does get eyes on the Arbiter. Does spot it. He's aware. As a reminder, Arbiters, they can recall. They have Cloak. I think they have like a passive Cloak around them, if I recall correctly. I don't think it's a skill. Yeah. It's just a passive Cloak field. And on top of that, they can also stasis. They can stasis units. You know what? Classic. Oh my god, throwing down the wall of cannons. Let's go. The cannons are being placed, and Classic, one way or another, he will expand. Ooh, I say that. Immortal's on the high ground. Oh, never mind. I'm forced to cancel. Yeah, I see your cannon rush. I see your cannons, and I raise you with the Immortals instead. The cannons are denied, and Classic does not expand. Classic still contained. Arbiter is spotted. additional arbiters on the way. Now, the reason why you would want more than one arbiter is because the recoil range is far smaller than the SE2 mothership recoil range. So you can recoil less units at a time. So you need more arbiters. Meanwhile, we do have the recoil into the main. Oh my god! Rebellion gonna be the first to recoil. Does dive in, activates a cloak. No detection for anyone. Oh my god. As we actually recoil across the map. My apologies. I wasn't expecting that effect. For a moment, I was like, Vortex? What's happening? I was very confused. But we have the recoil versus the recoil. Now, Rebellion can recoil back home with of course, his base. Rebellion does have a defensive recoil. Stalkers, they get across the map. Pushing in. Yep, there's a defensive recoil. Base did go down, and Classic is going for the production. Depowers the Robo, depowers the Stargate. Rebellion across the map did kill the third base, though. It's also wreaking havoc. But those Dragoons, they're putting in a lot of work. They do deny charge. They're slow lots. Yeah, slow lots across the map. The main army is about to engage. Cloak is activated. And Classic, he does dive in. Do we have another recoil, though? Classic, only one arbiter. Yeah, it's a one-way trip. There's a slow zone. Mothership goes down. But Rebellion will clean this up. He cleans up every single Dragoon. And he's still on a 2-base economy. GG gets called. Classic has nothing left, and Rebellion will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Mate, the look of confusion on my face when we saw the vortex effect, I was like, what just happened? I was speechless. I was so confused. But I guess that's the graphical effect of the brutal recoil, which is really cool that they're using that effect again, because we haven't seen it in so long, right? Like, vortex was stripped away at the beginning of Heart of the Swarm, if I recall correctly. It wasn't a part of Heart of the Swarm. It was only in Wings of Liberty, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. Has been a long time. GG, well played. Rebellion will take a lead in the series, and now we're jumping into game number 2. I mean, the Arbiter recoil was a vortex. True. Not quite the effect I was expecting. And now we're jumping into that second game. We're going to be embracing another more unorthodox map. We're going to be embracing Monty Hall. Yeah, the Archon toilet. The flashbacks were real, Pappy. I was like, oh, not again. Where are the Archons? Here we go. We're getting into game number 2. We're going to be loading into a very unorthodox map, a very unique map, and here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Monty Hall, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the SC2 Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is a classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the other South Korean Protoss player, the Brood War Protoss. It is Rebellion. Leading the series 1-0, and if you haven't seen this map before, welcome everyone to Monty Hall. And it is not quite an island setup here, but you do have mineral walls just encasing you here on one base. Now, there is a small gap where a worker can fit, but not a unit. So only a worker can fit through these small gaps, and Rebellion is setting up for a proxy. So he moves out across the map right through the center, setting up a proxy pylon here outside of the main base of Classic. Now, and he's going for an all-in. He's going for a proxy 2 gates. And this probe can throw down a gas geyser and can slowly mine gas, then mine minerals, mine gas, mine minerals, delete the resources, and break through this wall. And there it is. There's the gas geyser. Meanwhile, Classic... Oh! He scouts... Oh! He sees! He knows. Big scout here for Classic. He doesn't see the proxy, but he sees the gas geyser. That could be one thing and one thing only. It's a rush. It's an all-in. Classic, he's seen enough. He has seen enough. Second gateway's on the way. Second pylon. This should be leading into a robo, into a mortar production. So very early scout here by Classic. Meanwhile, it is going to be some gases back at home, but 3 gateways initially. Oh, I love the probe here to try and deny mining. Oh my god, did attempt to. But there we go. 25 minerals. It's 5 minerals each patrol. But in Classic, he's here to try to force inefficient mining, try and force the probe off the mineral patch. Up! The jukes! He gets it. Does get it in the end. The probe micro. Up! Again, you can see Classic is trying to force mining off of that mineral patch. And that will delay. Uh-oh. Does he just... Can he win the game with this? If he just denies that patch, yeah, he can't mine. Oh no! For those that are curious, only one worker can mine through a patch at the same time. Only one at a time, and Classic, he denies the mining. Oh my god. The big brain plays. He denies mining, he's getting on top of the gas guys, so we have a robo on the way, Dragoons as well. But the wall, it's solid. Very nicely done here by Classic. Again, if you're curious, to reiterate, only one worker can mine a patch at a time. If you have 2 workers, then they kind of fight over it and they deny mining. So very nicely done. And it looks like the gas geyser is going to go down. Meanwhile, Rebellion, he does follow up with Dragoons. The robo is almost complete. This should be for the shuttle, I would imagine, to try to juggle over the wall. Yeah, base on the way. It looks like it's going to be not just a shuttle, but also Reavers. So 1 base Reaver all in from Rebellion. Meanwhile, Classic going for the 1 base, soon to be Immortal Defense. For now, purely vanilla Stalkers. Prism is on the way. So Dragoon versus Stalker, Shuttle versus Prism, Immortal versus Reaver. We're getting there. Meanwhile, Classic, he does mine out through that wall, gaining access to an expansion. Classic can take a natural. Yeah, coming in from behind. Or he could even just go for a counterattack. Remember, Brood War Protoss cannot recall, not without an Arbiter. Yeah, Classic is going for the kill. There's nothing at home. There's nothing at home to defend. There's 1 cannon on the way. 1 cannon and probes. Here come those Stalkers. The first Immortal has arrived. And Rebellion still just cannot get over the wall. It's just not going to happen. And remember, the Warp Prism can reinforce. Warp Gate is done. Stalkers, they bust in. They can deny mining. They can just stay out of range of the cannon. And Rebellion, this is all he has. It's all or nothing for Rebellion. Reaver Shot goes off. Not bad. Does get a shut off. 1 more connection on the Immortal. Ooh, but the shuttle goes down. The Reaver falls. The Immortal survives just barely. And Classic holds. Classic does hold. There's no way in. GG gets called, and Classic ties up the series 1-1. Whew. God, that was crazy. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very nice response out of Classic. Just very quick thinking from him as well to be able to respond against that with his own probe micro. I imagine that Classic has never played on that map before. There's no reason to play on these maps unless you're competing in these tournaments, and even then you typically veto these 2 maps as well. There's a reason why we're only casting them in the grand finals, because they're being forced for our entertainment. But GG, well played. We're tied up 1-1, and we're now jumping into game number 3. Jumping into the 3rd game on Oceanborn. So we can return to normalcy here. We can calm things down, enter a more standard map, and as a reminder, this time the roles have been reversed, and Rebellion is playing SC2 Protoss, Classic is playing Brood War. Oh boy. Already, I do appreciate that it is a back and forth, that it is not a one-sided finals, and we'll see how this story continues and how it ends. Oh boy. So we're making our way into that 3rd game. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Brood War Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the other South Korean Protoss player, the SC2 Protoss. It is Rebellion. Here we go. Oh my god. So again, just a really intense game 1 and game 2, but a lot of that is because of how unorthodox those maps were. Now, we're calming things down, we're loading into Oceanborn, a map that you should be much more familiar with, especially if you're an SE2 viewer and enjoyer. Has been around for quite some time at this point, over a year I feel. And we'll see how things do differ. Oh, hello Classic. Interesting. Rebellion is setting up back at home as well. Double gas opener. 2 gateways here further back in the main. Trying to force an overreaction. And Classic is going for a gate expand. Ooh, bold move. Bold move here by Classic. A very greedy opener, very economic. Rebellion does confirm the timing of the Nexus. The fact that there is no cyber core, that there is no second gateway. They are delayed. And Rebellion can now turn this opener into a 1-base all-in. He sees the greed, and he can respond with a proxy. We'll see if he does. He does deny the second gas. Does go for the gas steal. Rebellion pulls away. But Rebellion has not sent out a second worker. It's still just the 1 probe, but it is being left alone. He will confirm the pylon. Dipping up the ramp. Does confirm the second gas. And does Rebellion throw down a Robo and a 3rd gateway? Does he expand? Probe takes a lot of damage. Is being forced out. Rebellion is building up resources, and it looks like he will expand. Okay, we have confirmation. Rebellion is going to be going for a later expansion. This does mean that Classic has the economic lead. So Classic, he will have the... Oh, never mind. That's a Robo. That is a Robo before Nexus. The pylon was thrown down. Checking the vision of Classic, he did not see the pylon. I'm curious if this is a fake out or if it's real. Is Rebellion actually going to expand? And again, the probe is moving down to low ground, so I'm feeling... Oh, no, 1-base all in. Okay. We have confirmation. It's a fake out. So this is a fake setup. It looks like it is going to be a 1-base all in. We have a Robo. We have a 3rd gateway as well. It's going to be all or nothing for Rebellion. Oh boy. Meanwhile, back at home, Classic, he's still trying to settle in. We do have a Dragoon range on the way, building up Dragoons. Again, Classic did invest quite heavily into this, into the Nexus, into the delayed production, into the delayed tech. So we'll see if Classic can survive. And we'll see if Rebellion can punish. Ooh. As Classic, did he get close enough? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, but as we are actually throwing down a Nexus, interesting. Nexus gets thrown down. This is a very late expansion for Rebellion, so I'm a little bit surprised he did throw it down. Immortal's already out. Prism is on the way. And Rebellion should be pushing. He will soon be moving out. Likewise, Classic is trying to keep up. Trying to figure out whether or not it is an all-in. Oh, the armies, they do miss each other. Yeah, the Dragoons, they do rotate around. They're headed towards the natural base, and Classic will confirm there is a Nexus. And Rebellion, he turns back around. Ooh, he's forced to turn around. Forced to recall. Army does recall back. No, the Prism goes down. The Prism falls. Nice force fields, but it may not matter. Dragoons trading against the Stalkers. I mean, these are going to be some brutal losses here for Classic, but he can afford them. As Classic, he takes down the Stalkers, takes down a Sentry as well. Not the worst trade. Bearing in mind, Classic has a 3rd on the way. He's on 39 probes. I mean, this is a little bit too greedy, I will say. This is wild. Like, he's kind of forcing a 1-base all-in here out of Rebellion. And he's still expanding. Very greedy here by Classic. And again, Rebellion, he has no saturation. He is all in, but he lost the War Prism. So the all-in is delayed. Prism now is rebuilt. He's moving out across the map. He's spotted by the army. Classic already engages. Oh my god. It's a lot of hits in. More Dragoons are warping in, of course. Shield battery is done. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Classic. Oof. And just delaying the move outs, buying time. Reaver production has begun. The shuttle is ready. And Classic is miles ahead. Again, it did feel like Rebellion wasn't entirely sure of what he wanted out of this game, whether he wanted to go for the all-in, whether he wanted to expand. He was a little bit middle of the road here, a little bit indecisive. And with that, now we find ourselves in this kind of position. Meanwhile, shuttle shot goes off. Oh my god, Scarab shot goes off even. Overcharge keeps the Reaver alive. Barely. And again, Classic just has to buy time to build up a greater army. Another Scarab shot. Shaves away the shields. Ooh, connecting on the sentry. Poison being pulled. Classic collapsing on those immortals. Nice juggling here by Rebellion. Does preserve his units. Oh my god. There's another Reaver shot goes off. Reinforcements have arrived. Still a pretty close fight. Still quite close, but we're down to one immortal. Once again, focusing down that War Prism. Prism goes down. Can they get the immortal as well? The juggling! The micro! Classic, calm down! Oh my god. And Classic, he will be able to come out on top here. The Stalkers are so low. Oh my god, takes down both Stalkers. And now he's going for the final immortal. Oh, I say that. Second immortal has arrived. Recalls back home. Rebellion, he survives and he at least keeps these immortals alive, but he's down to 38 workers, 63 probes for Classic. An insane economy. Could do with extra gateways, to be honest, just to sustain himself, just to be able to spend his money. As he is banking up. Oh my god. Reaver shot going off. Oh, takes down the Stalkers. No anti-air. And he wants the probes. He wants them. No, the stack. Oh my god, 6 probes go down. That was almost every single probe as well. They stacked up for that one moment. Another shot going off, getting another 2. 8 probes in total. Third base on the way for Rebellion. Ambitious. Very ambitious with that third. Oof. 12 probe kills. He's not done. Oh my god. 14 probes in total. Reaver finally goes down. But that was merely only the first wave here, the first form of Classic. He moves out with the rest of his reinforcements. The army has arrived. He's rallying everything across the map. The shuttle, the Reaver, it's gonna get there. Eventually. Even the slow lot is faster. The slow lot's like, get out of the way. Strutting past. As the main army does collapse in, even with the overcharge, doesn't even matter. Immortal goes down. GG gets called. And Classic will take a 2-1 lead. GG. GG, well played. Classic does take a lead here. Again, a very, very intense series so far. Even this game as well, but I feel like, as I mentioned before, it does feel like Rebellion was a little bit indecisive here. It did feel like he wasn't too certain if he wanted to all in or not. He did eventually expand, but it was a very late natural base for Rebellion. Because of that, he invested quite heavily there into his economy that he wasn't really making use of, and his main army or his initial all-in did suffer because of it as well. And it all kind of fell apart and fell in favor of Classic. With that, GG. GG, well played. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. Classic needs one more game to confirm the win here for Classic. Meanwhile, Rebellion has to win this game to bring it all the way to the ace match. Can he bring it back? Can he force the ace match? I'm hoping we can go the distance and we can go all the way to game 5, but the pressure is on. The pressure is on, and we're loading into Alcyone. Let's go. Let us go. So we're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkione, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Brood War Protoss, down in the series. He needs to fight back here and now for that Game 5. It is Rebellion. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean StarCraft 2 Protoss player for Twisted Minds. One game away from becoming this week's champion, the first Protoss champion in the history of StarCraft Evolution. It is Classic. Again, the StarCraft Evolution League has been mainly dominated by 3-Point and Shin, but this week there was no Shin and there was no 3-Point. 3-Point, he did sign up, he did check in, but 3-Point was unavailable. So in the absence of 3-Point and Shin, we have Classic and Rebellion rising up instead. We have them rising up. They've made it to the finals, and we will be crowning a new champion. Again, Classic, he's so close. We do have Rebellion opening up Nexus first. It's crazy. Basically, you saw last game with Classic going for a gate expand. Rebellion does one better. He goes for a Nexus first. Now, Classic, similarly to the last game where Rebellion responded with like a pseudo one-base all-in against the greed of Classic, we don't see that. Okay, Classic, I see you. I was gonna say that Classic has the option to respond with his own all-in to try to punish the greed. And again, this is as greedy as you can be in PvP. Nexus first, but Classic responds with his own Nexus. It is later than the expansion of Rebellion, but not too much later. So Nexus first out of Rebellion, meanwhile Gate expand out of Classic. So we are not seeing any all-ins, we're embracing a more economic start and getting into the mid-game. We will be embracing the mid-game instead. Rebellion setting up, throwing down his 2 gates, Zelda first as well. Rebellion does confirm with the Probe Scout that of course Classic is expanding. Ooh, Classic opening up Robo as well. It's going to be a Robo-based opener. With this, Classic is going to have early Immortal production, can also go for War Prism Harass across the map as well. Classic has some flexibility with this, at least some. The downside is that Blink is going to be delayed for Classic. Meanwhile, we'll see what direction Rebellion goes in. For now, Dragoon production, I imagine into Dragoon range. And speaking of, just settling into his PvP. As Classic does gain map control. He's going to be moving out, he's going to be threatening a dive into the natural. It's going to be on Rebellion to wall up and wall off. So far, so good. So let's get the shield battery in position. Nice SimCity here out of Rebellion. He's PvP'd before. Does wall off once again. Another shield battery. Keeping up with the Adept. Again, the SimCity is a little bit more. It is quite different here just because the shield battery is a little bit thicker, as opposed to the SC2 shield battery. So the walls are different. Meanwhile, it is going to be the War Prism first here for, the War Prism second for Classic, Immortal first. Which means we're going for a counterattack. We're setting up for some aggression here. Classic is moving out with that Prism. With it, he can reinforce. He can, of course, juggle his units. He can drop into the main, drop into a mineral line. That does shade in. Getting 1 probe. Just the 1. Rebellion going for his own Robo. Force Gateway as well. Building up his Dragoons. And Classic, okay, he's moving out with the War Prism to harass. He doesn't move out with his main army. He leaves everything else back at home. The War Prism is just going for the main, I imagine, for Adept harass. There it is, Adepts are on the way. Again, this is the power of a Robo opener. With this War Prism, I mean, we've seen that Adepts, they can have a hard time shading into a mineral line if the opposing player can wall off in time. But you can just bypass the wall with the War Prism, just going straight for the probes, straight for the main. Meanwhile, Stalkers move out. Classic has a shield battery, he has an overcharge. Classic is safe and sound. Adepts, they get across the map. It's going to be 4 Adepts, and I'm worried. Rebellion, he has nothing at home to defend, and again, he cannot warp in. He has to produce, like, the manual way here, the old-fashioned way, I should say. So he cannot react in time. Probes are going down. So much economic damage. 7 probe kills. 8 8 probes go down, Adepts are saved, and Classic, he's just pulling Rebellion apart here. Again, there's no possibility of like a reactive warp in or anything like that. He has 2 Dragoons in position. Adepts a shade into the natural. They can one-shot probes. 10, 11 probes going down. Classic just having his way with the mineral line. Now, Rebellion has a faster third, that is true. The third base is done. So Rebellion, he can make 3 probes at a time. But that is still 13, 14. Oh, we're still not done! We're still not done, man. Ay, ay, ay. 14 probe kills. And Classic is catching up with that third base timing. Ay, ay, ay. 14 workers going down. Adepts are still being active. Shading into the natural. Getting another 2, another 3. And this is game ending. This is just far too much damage at this stage of play. 5, 6 more probes. I'm afraid to look. It's been how many in total? 22 probe kills. Ay, ay, ay. The Adepts just pulling Rebellion apart. And Classic, he's not done. He's now moving out with his Immortals. Oh, no. He wants the pylons. He wants the pylons. He wants the production. He wants to wreak havoc even further. And again, Classic just has so much more maneuverability here. Bearing in mind, Rebellion Dragoons, they don't have Blink. They don't have Blink, so they cannot like dive on the prison. They cannot jump on the army. Classic, he has time to react, to respond, to pull away. Classic has so much more freedom with this War Prism. And yeah, he's just abusing Rebellion at this point. Going for those pylons, as we mentioned. Another Adept Warp in into the main. Pylon goes down. Even a Dragoon. He wants the Reaver. Wants the Reaver. Adepts a shade into the natural. And even if the Adepts go down, they're still trading well. Getting another 5 probes. Dropping to low ground to the 3rd. Reaver shot's getting dodged here by the juggling as well. The counter micro. Classic avoiding the Reaver shots. Gets another 8 probes. And Classic, he's winning the game here just by harassing, just by Adept harass and Immortal harass. I'm going to say that a lot of it is the War Prism. The Prism harass in general just has snowballed out of control. As I mentioned before, it is so much more difficult as the Brutal Protoss to defend against this if you're not in position. Specifically, if you're not at home. If you're out on the map, like we saw from Rebellion, he was just pulled apart. You can't react with like an overcharge, for example, or a warp in, or a recall, because there is no recall, there is no warp in. You have to be already like having a defensive setup. You have to be ready back at home, and Rebellion wasn't. He was not ready for this. And now here comes Classic with a massive supply lead. The super doesn't light, Nova goes off, and the Nova will connect again. There's no counter blink micro. We dive on the shuttle goes down, GG gets called, and Classic takes the series 3-1, becoming this week's StarCraft Evolution League number 4 champion. GG. GG, well played, very well done here by Classic. And honestly, in this final game, he made SC2 Protoss look busted against Brood War Protoss. As we mentioned, the maneuverability specifically provided to Classic because that War Prism was insane. Not just the maneuverability because of the units, but because of the micro as well. The player of Classic, he did just completely pull his opponent apart. It does feel like, winding it back a little bit and, you know, having a little bit of fun theorizing when it comes to SC Evolution PvP, which I haven't been able to cast much of, bear that in mind. But it does feel like, because of the power of the Prism, especially against a Robo opener, it feels like you do have to react a little bit harder to it. Either just being forced into a more defensive play with Dragoons in your bases and just being stuck at home, slowly expanding and taking a 3rd base and not being active on the map, or maybe even responding with a Stargate and going into a Corsair or into a Scout, specifically just to zone and just to threaten the War Prism. I'm not entirely sure which one would be best and which one is more viable. I'm just kind of theorizing, but it does feel like when it comes to like the meta of PvP and how it would evolve, like it does feel like a stronger response against the Prism is going to have to be required here, specifically against a Robo opener. As a reminder, Classic did open Robo that game, which is why he was able to get across the map so quickly with that War Prism. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the meta does evolve, how it does shift. Again, this is merely only the 4th edition of this tournament, and we're going to be seeing many more in the future. Oh, here we go. Once again, yeah, that's what I mean, like either a Scout or a Corsair, or just being forced to play more defensively. But again, it's one of those things where I would not be surprised if Rebellion has not been in that position too often with this kind of dynamic in StarCraft Evolution. Regardless, GG well played. Congratulations to Classic, as he is going to be our first StarCraft Evolution League Protoss champion. Congratulations. Up until now, it's only been Zerg champions. It's only been 3-Point and Shin, but now we add Classic. We add Classic to kind of the Hall of Fame of StarCraft Evolution. GG. Congratulations here to Classic. Very well done, very well played. Again, I'm glad that it was a back and forth. I'm glad that we had a more dynamic finals, and especially game 1 and game 2. Game 1 and game 2, it was the highlight of the finals here with Paradox and with Monty Hall. Winding it back, I'm still in awe as to the response of Classic. If you missed out on game 2 was when Rebellion was going for a 1-base all-in, and when he was trying to mine through the mineral patches to actually allow the 1-base all-in to get going, but Classic, he scouted the gas geyser, he responded with his own probe, he had his own counter probe micro, denying mining of the mineral patch, buying time for his own stalkers, and was able to completely deny the all-in. It was very impressive, very like fast thinking from Classic as well. It was really cool. Like I was very impressed. Very eye-opening. And with that, GG well played. With that, we are going to be wrapping up for the night. If you are interested in this mod, then you can take part yourself. The mod is available in every region: Europe, Americas, and Korea. You do, unfortunately, though, have to find specific players. From my understanding, I believe there currently is no like automated ladder system or anything like that. So you'd have to ideally join the Discord. There is a StarCraft Evolution Discord server, so you can find like-minded individuals and find practice partners as well to you know, play the game, play this game mode, to embrace it, to learn it as well. Do you want to try and micro disruptors yourself, or do you want to have the power of the, I almost said the Infestor, not quite, the Defiler and the Queen as well, the spellcasters? Like we've seen like late game Guardians as well. Late game Guardians have been insane in like ZVP and ZVT that we've seen in weeks previously. Likewise, like the use of the almost said Raven, god damn it, the other one, the Science Vessel, with Irradiate. And I mean, in general, like the spellcasters and the dynamic of the game is very different in StarCraft Evolution. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's quite refreshing. Like if you enjoy SC2 and if you want like a different kind of twist to it, then it could be up your alley. So I do recommend joining the Discord server. Do recommend. And with that, GG well played. I have not actually played it myself. I have been unable to, unfortunately, but I'm so tempted. Like I'm so fascinated by some of these matchups, and it looks like a lot of fun. Looks beautiful. What's your MMR? I hover around 4.5k, so M2 if you're curious. I do ladder on my personal channel, so if you want to follow myself, @_VIP, I do ladder on my own personal channel. If you're interested in that sort of thing, I do stream on a semi-regular basis. Basically, I usually stream on days that I don't cast. So today I was casting, so no ladder session, no ladder stream. Tomorrow our broadcast is going to be Sparkling Tuna Cup, so we're going to be casting tomorrow as well. And the day after with the Wardy TV Monday into the Stegosaurus Cup as well. But potentially, you know, maybe on Monday or Tuesday I'll be able to squeeze in a ladder session as well. So if you're interested, you can follow me. You can follow me here, follow me over on @_VIP if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you for watching, thank you for the support, I do appreciate it. And our next cast is tomorrow. Going to be Sparkling Tuna Cup if you're interested. And yeah, with that, we're going to be wrapping up. Here for the time being. If you want some more StarCraft Evolution, 2 weeks. It's going to be in 2 weeks time. 2 weeks from here is the next event. It is a bi-weekly tournament. That means every fortnight we have a StarCraft Evolution League. Maybe one day we'll have it more consistent. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's always a lot of fun. Always a good time. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys next time. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. We'll find someone to send everyone over to. Find out someone to raid. Otherwise, I'm going to go pass out. It is 4:30 in the morning. It's very early. It's well, very late, I guess, depending on how you look. It's 4:30 in the morning. It's time to go to bed and do it all again tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.